Sir.
Recording. Here we are. What's going on, fellas?
What's up? What's up?
What's good? What's good? Feels good to be back, Tune.
Oh my God. Yo, this is the first time we had the RTBTH triumvirate on the podcast together since September 2021. We back.
Yes.
Live in
Yes.
effect,
Been too long, man.
Ready.
Yes.
How y'all niggas doing?
I've been great, man.
been
Definitely
homeless.
took a couple of summer trips. Yeah, this man, Ahi, you might have to give a brief recap of your homelessness story.
Man,
Maybe not, I don't know.
that's just a little
But-
too depressing, man.
Yeah.
But he has been through the trials and tribulations.
Yes.
Hopefully the podcast can restore your spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Coming with that hot fire. Speaking of, it's hot as fuck in Atlanta right now. I am boiling. I know y'all got that nice weather up in the north and you on the west coast, Ahi, but like it literally has been like 100.
It's been hot out
degrees.
here too, man.
Feels like 108 every
It's
day.
really hot.
I've been
My
seeing a
AC
lot
is
of
working
memes and
overtime.
things on Instagram about Atlanta. Is it really like that bad? Because I mean, yeah, it's hot. I remember it being pretty hot in August and July and shit. But
Nah, it's
damn.
not getting hot in May.
I think it's starting to get worse each year from like, yeah, because I mean, you know, when we were kids, it would be bad. Like I remember there would be times like, all right, well, we can't do football practice outside because, you know, there's a heat wave or some shit like that. But now it does seem like, one, it's starting earlier, and two, it's just like consistent throughout, you know, 3 days of just like, yo, we are at 99s. And then it'll rain like for 45
Wait, it's
minutes.
99s
and
out
then-
there now? Oh my
Bro,
God.
it was 100 today. It was at least 100 today. And that's just like heat, not just, you know, thinking about the dryness. I have a tomato plant outside. That shit is basically up in ashes now because I got a couple off of it, but yeah, it's just baked out there. Been trying to, you know, grow a little stuff just in case, you know, the world ends. The man tries to take over the government one more time. You know, I can't get to the grocery store. There's a pandemic, you know, make sure I can still eat.
Get them skills up, man. Get them skills
Yes.
up.
You already know.
man, you know, with inflation, you might have to start growing your own food. Start.
Real talk, bro.
Get your own
Tending to
cows,
some
get your own
chickens.
milk.
Yeah.
But,
I feel sorry for everybody that's had to go back into work since, you know, I guess 2020. Cause I did go back myself the first time this week and that shit was awful. Had to put on clothes and shit, you know, commute there. And it wasn't even just the commute there. Like the biggest thing was the commute back in the 100-degree Atlanta heat in the traffic and shit. I was just like, this is definitely not worth it. Fuck this.
Spending all that gas money too, man. Don't you wish you could
Yes.
stay at home now?
Yes, my little ass Honda Civic was like, yeah, $50 today to fill up. I'm like, bro, what? It has never been that in my life.
That's not too bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
bro,
it-
I'm paying
'cause my car is
$80
small.
for 12 gallons, bro.
Yeah, my car. I only.
A's
put
car is
10 in there,
smaller.
so
My car is small. As
yeah,
fuck.
but his shit eats.
But you in
gas, and have
California.
the premium, yeah,
Yeah,
and
man,
you're.
the gas is $7.50 a gallon.
Oh my
Bro,
God, for
crazy. Crazy. The shit's
Yeah.
$5.99
Holy
over
shit.
here, so.
So, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
bro, I don't get it. It's crazy, man.
All right, well, let's go ahead and introduce the podcast. This is Coronavirus Chronicles 8, the last Chronicle. Because guess what? The pandemic over.
Yep, we wrapping it up.
It's dead.
Wrapping it up.
R.I.P.
Never to be discussed again.
Fuck the pandeezy. But also, you know, I'm sure that there's still a lot of pandemic things happening across the world, so we don't want to deny that, even though shit never really hit Africa. Just gonna say, probably because they're not over there, but we'll put that to the side. That's a different conversation for a different day.
Yo,
But
they took when I was over there. So just to jump in real quick, went on a little trip to South Africa. They took it serious over there, though. It was.
oh yeah,
And, I
okay.
mean, so at least there they did have, you know, universal health care and shit like that. Or, you know, people can go to a public system, get vaccinated, get tested or whatever. But like, it
Mhm.
definitely seemed like they were pretty on top of it. Niggas was wearing masks and then they weren't like, cause you know, the shit's over now, but it seemed like, they were pretty on top of shit and buttoned up.
Yeah. I don't know the information too well, but I've read over time here and there that it didn't really hit Africa, at least maybe sub-Saharan Africa. Like it didn't really run through.
People weren't getting sick like that. Like it was
Yeah.
running through. People died. At least my cousins were saying that, but like it wasn't really as devastating for the older people as it was here. I think probably because people are in general
Not
healthier.
fat Americans.
They're not.
Well,
Yeah.
healthier in the sense of not being obese and stuff. But I mean, I also I don't know that
Physically
I don't know if we
active.
had the same number of like really old people because life expectancy in sub-Saharan Africa is a little bit lower. So you may have a lower distribution in that upper age. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
But I
a
mean,
lot of that is
thankfully it
due
wasn't terrible.
to, not to be the epidemiologist on the podcast, but a lot of that is due to different, reasons of America being kind of more geared to chronic diseases and, developing nations now, as they develop, are starting to have more chronic diseases. But a lot of it is like infectious disease and shit like that do normally, end life a lot sooner. So, I mean, it's interesting. There's a bunch of shit that goes into it, but you're
Yeah,
kind
but
of right
thankfully it
there.
wasn't too bad. That's the one thing we could say.
Herschel, you fucking should be the epidemiologist on the podcast.
Being an
I guess so.
epidemiologist.
I guess so.
Herschel, let's get into the South Africa trip real quick. But one quick comment. I think personally, the end of the Chronicles is here. And I've actually been wanting to put this to bed for a minute. Because I've been done with the pandemic since fucking the bachelor party. Anyway, that was a year ago, approximately. But,
Yeah.
the pandemic is officially over, at least for the States, because there's shit that's way more serious, which is inflation and gas prices. And that's, like more devastating than the pandemic, in my opinion. So that's why.
I forgot about the Ukraine
Erupting.
war.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
the
forgot
Ukraine
about
war
that
too.
shit.
But things that we have to deal with to our faces, like, that we have to actually look at. Like when you go to the gas station, you have to look at the damn gas price, like, oh, $5.99. But
shit that affects everybody's every day. Hell yeah.
But so officially the last Chronicle, guys. I hope you're not too sad, because I won't be. Anyway, Herschel, tell us about it, man.
So I know we did want to kind of get this one wrapped up sooner, but we were trying to wait for everybody to be available to have this podcast. But yeah, man. South Africa was super dope. Long fucking flight over there. Again, because I think of this Ukraine versus Russia war, the flight tickets started to get astronomical. Like after 3 days, it was like, oh shit, every day $200 going up. So we managed to get a flight flying into Newark and then direct from Newark to Johannesburg. Got a chance to do some wineries, toured Nelson Mandela's house. This shit was crazy, man. So one thing, there are two different thoughts or feelings about Nelson Mandela, basically. And it's very similar to how America has white people that kind of co-opt a lot of sayings and shit like that, and quotes from Martin Luther King, where they basically locked this dude up for 27 years, Nelson Mandela I'm discussing. And when he came out, all the black people were like, not all the black people, but there's a conspiracy that they think that a cloned person came out. Similar to the Gucci Man theory, where he was locked up, and that's not my Gucci. My Gucci got a gut. I don't know what to tell you, but it was really interesting that like he never spoke his own native tongue again, which I think it was Xhosa. I could be pronouncing it wrong, but I'm not sure. He actually ended up divorcing his first wife, and she bought a house like down the street, and they kept him inside this basically like this big ass home in like the white area of the city of Johannesburg, and wouldn't let people see him. And basically they turned that shit into a hotel now. So like you can stay there for low-key not that much, like, I don't know, $1,600, which is a lot of money, I guess, for one night. But to stay in the room that Nelson Mandela was like kept in, it's like, oh, and apparently people do that shit. We ain't go up in there, but it was clear that like, oh, you guys are profiting off this dude's name. It's labeled on like, merchandise and all kinds of stupid shit, which is really sad. But, that's capitalism for you. And one of the biggest things that I learned, obviously, South Africa has, that rough history with fucking the Dutch pretty much coming in and fucking shit up, but with apartheid. But basically, once all that shit ended, they still kept economic superiority. So they control all the financial shit, while black people control like the public and government factors and stuff. But that just has led them to, fall into corruption, and because they didn't know how to govern prior to then. You just can't hand somebody the keys to a Ferrari. They're going to wrap it around the tree, right? But you can still see that pretty much to this day. There's like tons of segregation still, which is not different from America. But one thing that was really different, the shit looks like fucking, obviously District 9 was shot there, but it was a dystopian society, dystopian future. Like that's what it looks like, with all these fucking fences and electric fences and shit everywhere, clearly to keep people out. It was like, oh, you designed this whole environment so that, you know, oh, if the people chose to rise up against you as oppressors, you know, kicking people out and doing all this kind of stuff, you can not safely, but like you can manage to stop it with these physical barriers that have been erected around literally every domicile, every business. Again, electric fencing at the top. Here in America, I keep thinking like, oh, well, you know, people probably have guns and shit as deterrents for why you shouldn't just like run up in somebody's spot, or, you know, obviously the police are out here killing people for Americans. But there it was, you know, clear that they had developed this other structure. And then, you know, again, the police being servants of the government, which is now black run, they're corrupt too. It was like, yo, if you get a DUI or if they pull you over while you're drinking, you just got to give them a couple $100 or a couple hundred rand, which is only like 20, maybe $40 in USD, and you know you're on and about your business, you know. But also a lot of like Atlanta influence just in general on the music, on the style, on the culture. Bucket hats are still big, so that was interesting. Niggas was whistling in the club. I'm sure y'all have heard the Drake album by now. I did learn from our basketball expert Will, shout out to you, that one of the executive producers, Black Coffee, is a big South African DJ. And while I was down there, prior to the Drake album coming out, we went to the club a couple times. It was like, oh shit. And they have this genre called Amapiano. And it's like that house music, like, you know, a lot of drum beat and shit like that. And shit was kind of live. And I also will say, hey man, Drake album not that bad. Niggas are overreacting. Like, sure, whatever. It's not momentous and it didn't move you. You didn't hear the bars you wanted to. Okay. I listen to it while I'm studying, while I'm fucking, you know, doing. Yeah, it's background music. Okay. Well, we needed all kind of music for some shit. It's gonna go hard at the fucking pool party and the cookout too. So niggas need to stop tripping. And that's my Drake.
Yeah, I have not listened to that album. I have listened to Black Coffee's album that won the Grammy for Best Electronic Album from 2022, which is how I actually eventually knew of Black Coffee. You know, I only know of him and I guess
you've been knew about Black Coffee. Okay.
I mean, only since like the Grammys happened.
Black Coffee hipster out here.
I gotta see
who watch the Grammys. Wow.
Who wins the best electronic album. You know, I also like watching. I also like seeing who wins best reggae. Coffee, the Jamaican Coffee.
Oh, yeah.
I actually saw her here in Boston. Man, she's got some excellent stage presence, and she has such a wonderful voice. But she's won the best reggae album Grammy. So yeah, that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Actually, Herschel, briefly, I mean, I think you told us this was like a logistical effort to get a bunch of people together, man. How'd that shit go down?
Oh, bruh. So obviously, you know, every time anybody tries to get a group of adult individuals, like not your immediate family, like
you mean niggas?
Yeah, niggas, pretty much, to do anything together that collectively is gonna cost, you know, some money, and you got a plan and fucking shit like that. So
I mean, that's what you did for your wedding, bro. You had a bunch of niggas out there.
Hell yeah. I'm shocked that y'all even fucking made it. Nobody got lost. This shit was crazy.
Yep.
I mean, I'm gonna be real. Only the white people didn't make it. There were more white people invited to my wedding and they didn't arrive. So, you know, shout out to the white people that listen to the podcast, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, so we have one friend who lives there and works in South Africa now. She's American as well. Oh, y'all are Nigerian. I got to tell y'all about this shit after that. But so we had like 8 people fly down. One person did miss their flight. I think it may have been canceled though. I'm not positive, because again, everybody had to like get a connecting flight because direct flights from Atlanta and other places were just like literally $3,500, and it was like, all right, last week it was $1,500, and I'm just not doing that. And, you know, I'm not balling like that. I wish, but you know, it is what it is. Maybe someday I'll be able to fly over there. But we basically get there one night, my wife and I, and like we go around out to the club. We do like a bunch of tours and shit. And then we've got new people landing and flying in like the next 2 or 3 days. And then after everyone gets in, we actually fly from Johannesburg to Cape Town, where we go on some wine tours. We went on a safari one night. We fly back we had a fucking private chef in this fucking nice ass ritzy building. Cause again, the US dollar goes far. Like we didn't see black people doing the shit that we were doing. And they also loved us just as, you know, black Americans. Oh shit. y'all brought weed from Atlanta. We're like, nigga, no, we bought it from the dispensary right there. What do you think we were doing? But like, they just wanted to hype. It was just like, oh man, y'all, can we play some Future? Can y'all, just all kinds of stupid shit like that. But we were fucked up in terms of like food because, being so far behind, we'd get hungry like a bit later, and shit just kind of was closing. Like, 9 p.m. the kitchen for pretty much everywhere is closed, and it's like, all right, well, this is gonna be kind of rough in terms of figuring the shit out. But I mean, we made it work. It was a lot of fun. Definitely saw some lions and elephants and literally all big five. I might not have got all 5 of the big 5, but like for those
the big
listening,
5.
Yeah, the big 5 is elephants, buffalo, the fucking wildebeest, basically from Lion King, which they were like, yo, these shits are rare. We were like, oh shit, it's a bunch right there. So he was like, yo, this is a good day. I saw goddamn, not Mufasa, but I saw Simba and Nala and whatever Simba's mother is. I'm gonna send y'all the fucking video, but it was like a lioness and 3 little cubs, just like, yo, we out here. Don't fuck with us. We saw an antelope very close to him. We're like, yo, are we about to watch breakfast right now? This shit is live. I did take some acid during one of these safari trips, and that shit was wild. Definitely thought I was in the wild thornberries for a second.
God damn, bro.
Yes.
You was doing everything in South Africa.
Ballsy, bro.
Right. It was actually, I was low-key overstimulated a little bit. It was like,
that's how it be.
Yeah. When it started to hit, I was like, oh shit. And the sun was setting, and it was like the safari was like a fucking game reserve and shit. And, the light was like splashing off this water that was there. There was hippos. We didn't get close to any hippos, but like, because obviously hippos will take your motherfucking life,
Bruh, I heard hippos be getting pretty active.
Aggressive. But we did see some rhinos very, very close. But yeah, I'll share some of that so you guys can see. But yeah, my big takeaways were like, damn, y'all white people came. So one of the things going to like these game reserves and these winery tours and shit like that, they're all like businesses that were created by a white person, basically. And they have like a big picture of them on the wall. And they give you a spiel like, oh man, thank goodness for Sir Floppy, whatever, that like decided to, Leeuwenhoek or some, whatever Dutch name. So they kind of washed the history so that it seems like, oh, there was nothing else here before this. You just named it this area French Corner, even though it used to be called Elephant's Corner or something else, because you can literally see like, oh, there's a mountain range and volcanoes and like this is a whole fucking valley. And I can imagine, 100, 200, maybe 3, not even that long ago, just animals just being out and about. But they definitely made it seem like, oh yeah, this is, we made this, which was, part of decisions we made, I guess, for our tours of like, all right, we do want to do some bougie shit. It's going to be a little bit European style. Like on the safari, our hotel room was like epic, but the shower was outside. The shit was lit. But I was saddened that like, damn, black people can't get ahead anywhere, huh? If not even here, then, and for you guys, so our host was Nigerian American, and she was informing us like, yo, South Africans don't really fuck with Nigerians like that. We went to a Nigerian restaurant. So we went to an African restaurant, and they're in there playing, Atlanta music and South African music. They might have been playing some Nigerian music, but we didn't hear it literally anywhere else. But they got like oxtails and shit on the menu. They hear us and are like, oh, y'all are Americans, Atlanta, talking to us. And I asked the manager like, yo, so is this a Nigerian place? And they're super hesitant. They just like don't want to tell me. I'm like, so this is clearly an African restaurant or a Nigerian restaurant. Like he was like, oh, I'm Nigerian, but this is an African contemporary. They were like very strict of like, yo, we don't want to be branded as that because niggas will not fuck with us anymore.
Damn.
They were selling hookah and stuff. I was like, bruh, come on, man.
The hate is real.
I mean, they want their own to develop. Like it clearly was like cultural. There was one friend that we also met down there that was
Really?
from Cameroon, and he was like, yeah, I mean, it just is, because it's similar to how people think of immigrants here to America, where it's like, oh, you're just coming here to take advantage of whatever, and there's
Man, Nigerians will take
and
advantage of
jingoism
some
everywhere.
opportunity too, though.
Yeah, that's
So
what
if they
I'm
just
saying.
running up in there, just like opening businesses and shit, and yeah, I mean, of course, that's what you want. That's what immigration is all about. But if they're just
Yeah.
kind of going ham, I guess that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, they're not interested in the
not
culture.
Really though, right? Aren't you trying to get us?
I mean, it's really not that bad. Like, I think it's just like a deep-seated, like a long-term thing. Bruh, the same thing happens with black people and Africans here in America. Like, it is not a foreign concept. It just is bruh, I'm not breaking news to you, am I, that some black people don't fuck with Nigerians? Bruh, in high school, I definitely heard, I was like, bruh, he's cool. What do you mean? Like, we had one guy on the football team, but it was niggas that, I mean, it's just people, having different experiences and stuff. But one of the interesting things was, in terms of white people, obviously white people stick together, they segregate themselves as is. But the Dutch and the British people, both, colonizers that came to the area, it wasn't like, tension that you could kind of see or identify readily. But one, they looked different from each other. And two, they literally had a war over like, resources and whatnot in Africa, where, they were coming down there to basically get, raw materials and shit like that. And I mean, white people have been going to war for all types of shit. They tried to, storm the Capitol, if you remember. We'll talk about that soon. But it was interesting to kind of observe like how these different elements of this nation's history that I hadn't, I'm unlearned on South Africa prior to this. Like it was different little pieces, whether it be apartheid and Nelson Mandela or, the white people at war or, economic power versus government power, all these things and how they played into like creating what is a modern society, right? Like they got Wi-Fi, they got internet, they're out here chilling, it's vibes. But also there are like structural differences. Like you leave outside of, that main city and, you're going to be struggling for water and shit like that. So very interesting. It sparked my interest, of course. I mean, I already was interested in going more and more places, but particularly in Africa, just to see different cultures, different impacts that, we've had on the world and then what the world has brought into different areas. So, I don't know when the last time you guys have been back to Nigeria, but yeah. And do you guys have questions? I mean...
Well, appreciate you regaling us, Herschel, with with the adventures. And yeah, I mean, first of all, shout out to Black Excellence, man. Y'all had a squad, at least from the pictures, it looked like y'all had a squad up there.
How long were y'all
down
there
there
for? 2 weeks?
Like 10 days, and you end up like, a day and a half in the air. But it's a smallish country, which was what allowed us to be like, oh yeah, let's go over to the coast of Cape Town and fucking climb this Table Mountain and go do this and that. Like we had just enough time to do, like it was a jam-packed vacation. We went to like a market with, African art and shit, got me a little dashiki, you know what I'm saying? But
that's what's up.
Yeah, it was cool. And so one person did fuck up and they
in Africa. I haven't been outside of Nigeria really, because every time I go back, we're always like, oh well, you probably should go see some family. But my mom has been trying to say like we should go to Namibia one of these like this year or next year. She was saying this year around Thanksgiving, but I don't think that's gonna happen because she asked me to plan it, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. This was like 6 months ago. Then
yeah, here we are.
So
yeah, you're
probably
homeless,
not this year.
So.
But yeah, man, it'd be nice to get out to a different country, man, see the rest of Africa, because I feel like it's, at least especially for Nigerians, man, I feel like we don't typically get around too much unless we live in Nigeria. Like people who live in Nigeria, if you got a little bit of money, a lot of people have traveled around, but like the people who left, it's very hard to go back and travel around too much unless you really make it a point to do it. But it's on the list, man. It's on the list.
Got to get the travel expert to come on the podcast and plan for us.
Oh yeah,
yes, that would be dope. Yes,
go ahead and throw him. In fact,
we do need to kind of discuss, and of course, we'll talk about this off pod. But as
off pod
get settled into
everything is on pod, bro.
Oh,
this is
content.
Real talk.
Yes,
beyond the off pod. Anyway,
but yeah, we got to do another little fellas trip. The last one, of course, being Vegas. The wedding, of course, was dope, but Vegas was pretty cool. The travel expert actually was on a trip to Croatia a week or two ago doing Yachtnik, and I saw some pictures from that.
Oh yeah, that's
that's
yacht party.
Yes, yes. So we definitely need to get in contact with him in terms of setting it up. Yeah, like Freaknik, I think. But
which came first?
I mean, I don't know if it was black. I don't know how black influenced, or if they like just slapped a label on it and black people pulled up, which is also cool. Yes, but they were on yachts. They were on heli yachts. I was like, oh my god.
Or is that what Justin calls it? He calls it Yachtnik.
I mean, I will have to Google and confirm that for you. But
that was Yacht Week. But yeah, no, the water over there is beautiful, super calm. It's nice, man. Yeah, we gotta get him to tell us what he was doing on them yachts. I heard some crazy shit goes down on them.
All right, fellas. Now let's talk about some post-pandemic shit. I think Herschel wrote this question. When is it socially unacceptable to still wear a mask?
No, I wrote that one.
Oh, that was Ehi?
Yeah,
Bruh. If I go somewhere and someone's wearing a mask outdoors, I'm just going to assume they didn't take the vaccine. That's what it is now. Because I see people wearing masks every fucking where. I haven't worn a mask in probably like a month and a half, except maybe Ubers and random shit. But if you're wearing a mask, I'm going to assume you're not vaccinated. That's all I can do.
Particularly indoors, you're saying?
No,
Like,
outdoors. I mean, dude, I see people riding bikes
by themselves.
I feel
wearing
like
masks.
it shows like, all right, you don't trust me. That's what you're saying to me. If you come to my house and you're wearing a mask, I'll be like, bruh, we're gonna talk.
Yeah,
you're gonna be here a minute.
That's pretty.
You
That's
probably
pretty disrespectful.
take your coat off. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I was at a gathering and it was indoors and it was, a group of people eating food. Bro, there was someone wearing 3 masks. I swear to you, there was someone wearing 3 masks, and the third one was a KN95.
Were they turning blue? Because they know.
Were they
in the blue there? You know that, right?
Were they
you know how
immunely
they got those,
compromised? Like,
See, that's the thing. I have to assume you're immunocompromised or you didn't take the vaccines at that point.
Bro, I always like every time I see these people, I try to assess them with my rudimentary medical skills to see like whether or not they look immunosuppressed, which is not a thing.
You can just see it on them.
Person look like they're on hella steroids or some shit. Like they can't fight an infection. But yeah, man, most people look very healthy otherwise. So I'm like, yo, there's something wrong upstairs. That's my understanding.
Yeah, I think the only times are public transit or if you're getting on an airplane.
No,
and even on an airplane, I'm ready to take one off. Oh no, fuck outdoors. Everybody. Yeah, like, that's ridiculous.
Or they sitting in the park. Like literally go to the park. There's people sitting in the field by themselves wearing a mask.
Are people still using it as an excuse to get out of social interactions? Do you think?
Oh, in terms of like, I can't go pandemic.
Yeah.
Bro. This is COVID.
I was just traveling, and I don't want to risk it.
I don't know, man. That would be wild. I haven't heard that excuse yet. No, I haven't.
That's good. I may have used it once or twice. But, I also had COVID, so
recently
it's real.
Recently,
I had it after the wedding. We couldn't do Christmas at my house because half my family had COVID and the other half didn't. So we were just like, all right, well, and it wasn't like bad. It was just like, it is what it is. And I think it'll be fine. We'll just continue on, and people will forget and not learn from mistakes and shit like that. Although we have learned from other like world crises and shit, airports will never be the same after fucking 9/11. But, 2 or 3 years from now, mask mandates or masks and vaccines are going to be a fucking forgotten thing. Once again, we're going to have some, constitutional crisis or some shit where, we forgot about that time this motherfucker Donald Trump almost stole the country. It is what it is. Tune, did you want to talk about The Boys?
Yeah, man. I mean, most recent season of The Boys, season 3. I've watched every episode. Potential spoiler alert for the listeners. I don't know. We'll see where this conversation goes. But I just think the show is fantastic, man. This season, I feel like
I think at minimum you could talk about the previous seasons. Like if people haven't watched it, it's fucking fine, or they're gonna watch it and it'll still be fine. Yeah. And even this season, bro, talk about that shit. It's. I think there are so many like non sequiturs and just like wild shit happening that you can describe some of the shit and like it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think Homelander is the perfect. I think his character is analogizing Donald Trump. Yeah, I don't know Donald Trump's presidency, I guess, but. I mean, he's just like the quintessential white man, and he's all powerful, but he's also like very trash and very weak-minded. But he's like, the most powerful person on the planet and
entitled, I'd say, very entitled. But yeah, I mean, I think it's not only is it that like that's, the clear connection. I think that they were initially going for with that. But even beyond that, what I was kind of mentioning before, Ehi, like, they have built up like all these crazy events and like wild shit that happens to where, literally every episode you might like your jaw might hit the floor because something like absurd happened or something unexpected. Like it's very well written. But within that, they are like they were not able to keep pace with the wild shit that was happening in real life with Trump. And I can almost kind of see this season culminating with so Homelander is basically taking over right now. You know, just to give like a general
man, I feel like this whole
setup.
season
Like there was a government instant
waiting for him to just blow up and do some crazy shit. And like, I mean, they've been alluding to it so perfectly. Like they've been building and building and building for him to lose his shit. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, there's a business that basically like runs all these superheroes, with Homelander being the leader of the superheroes, not the business. Like there's a motherfucking CEO and shit for that. And then they also deal with the government because they help with like, you know, wars and fucking, you know, policing, which is also hilariously parodied and you know, follows what happens in America. But yeah, I think, you know, just as a prediction, I think what's going to happen is basically an attempted coup, just like what happened in real life, which is just hilarious to me. And I don't think they meant, I'm not sure what the comics have said. Some of the shit, you know, they're writing on their own. Some of the shit they're following the comics, particularly where like the boys, the good guys who are also not that good. That's kind of the other, you know, great aspect of the show is just like, yo, it's dark comedy. Like all these people are fucked up and you're just going to be along for the ride and enjoy it. And you can root for some people if you want, but they're kind of fucked up too. And don't get it twisted, bruh. Starlight probably got some demons in her closet that I would be interested to see where that goes.
She
but
used to be a stripper.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe she's very
pageants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I mean,
actually, you know, would be an interesting little twist to the story. It does parody a lot of like current events, modern phenomena of society. I feel like they do a pretty good job like parodying woke shit. And you're just like, that is some woke shit from our real world. But
yeah,
somehow they're, and they also
on both aspects of the spectrum, I'd say too. They've got like NRA parody shit, and then they've got like, you're being overly inclusive, the Academy for Fun Time, you know, safe space, whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm. And they also do some, you know, they kind of do it comically, but they also, you know, discuss some very serious things like with, you know, harassment in the workplace.
Yeah,
fucking Deep
brutality.
Or The Deep, and you know, pretty much like the first episode he harassed Starlight with some shit in the entire series. So, and it was just like like the apology tour and shit. Yeah, you know, it's like so just satirical, and yeah, just had to go ahead and you know, talk about that on the podcast because we do that on the podcast sometimes. Talk about the shows that we're watching and shit. Hashtag RTBTH. Hashtag you heard it here for the first time. For the damn. Fuck that up. Hashtag you heard it here for the first time. All right, moving on. This is kind of a quick hit podcast, you know what I'm saying? Because we're trying to be done with the Chronicles. Fuck the Chronicles, man. Because I'm done with the Pandeezy. Anyway, NBA Finals. I forgot Ehi was living in the Bay Area.
This is why he wants to be quick, because he doesn't want to talk about the finals for real. That's why he just made that disclaimer.
I know, bro. Yo, Boston's trash.
Yeah. Why? So, let's talk about
look,
it.
Say whatever you want.
Town, bro.
I don't support Boston.
All the way from the Bay. You know, look, man, I represent to the death.
Oh, my God.
I've been there 6 months.
Bro, how?
I know, today you got more of a claim to the Bay than I do. Didn't you grow up out here at Hayward?
Yes. I did.
Yes.
I did. Wow. But I mean, I'm not supporting Boston. I don't support either team. Technically
it's so hard
speaking,
to support the fucking Warriors, man. All they do is just run 600 screens and then just shoot the ball. I'm tired of seeing it.
I'm telling you. I've been saying it all these years.
That's the game.
At least like Boston, they put the ball on the ground. You know, Tatum will get in there, get his little mid range. Sometimes, you know, they might go and dunk it a little bit. Like I'm tired of this Golden State just shoot the ball off. I mean, look, hey, it wins, right? I mean, I'm not gonna knock it. Like, look, we champions, man. I'm gonna eat that up. But
we champions.
Trying to see some action.
Like,
yeah, that we was quick.
Who was we?
Yeah. Were you out there at the parade?
I was at the parade, man.
Nice.
Yo, I sent y'all the pictures. Did I send y'all
no,
I didn't
little
video?
Get the pictures.
I'm pretty sure I sent y'all a video, or maybe I didn't. Oh, I put it on Instagram. That's what it was. But yeah, man, the shit was kind of lit in sections. So whenever the players came by, then it was lit. But then there would be like all these randos. They would be on these fucking trolleys and shit. There'd be like 7 of them in between each of the player buses. And people were like,
because the team is not beating.
Who are you?
They're champions. They probably got a ring. They probably was like, shut the fuck
but
up.
these people are just regular people with their kids and shit. Like, why?
Maybe they work for the industry. Here?
I mean,
for the team.
I mean, I guess. I mean, nobody wanted to see them. So, you know.
They wanted their moment. I feel you, though.
Yo, fuck that
Fuck
moment,
'em.
bro. We only came here for the players. Like, people were so pissed.
Yeah.
They're like, yo, who are these people? But, yeah, man, I mean, you know, Steph was out there turning up. I didn't see Clay, but apparently this dude was going ham.
I saw some video. Yeah, he like knocked over a motherfucker. Like he hard.
Bro.
Like he like low key trucked him, and then was kind of faded. He kind of helped him get back up, but like they fell.
Bro.
Like it was like a whole scene, and
I'm
that
actually
was the
happy
only person.
that like these dudes were getting drunk though, because they all have this clean cut image and all this shit. You know, Steve Kerr got off the plane, told everybody he was hungover. I was like, oh, all right, okay, I see y'all partying in Vegas. Came out here. I'm like, this is making it, you know, made it real that these guys are real people. They're not just like these, you know, super squeaky clean athletes. And
Now,
shit.
man,
They
we
know they
also
get
learned
down.
the rest of the Curry family is not so squeaky clean with mom and dad doing the wife swap.
Right,
out
bro.
here.
I'm like, yo,
Bro, is this a
whole
real
Curry is
thing?
about to give his-
Yes, man. So the two, his
it's
mom and his
100%
dad,
real.
yeah, are dating two people who used to date each other. Like his
No,
mom
they
and
used to
dad are
be
no
married,
longer
but
with
they're
each other.
married with kids. They got 2 kids.
Yes. Oh, the other two people have kids also
Yes.
with
That's
each other.
what's so
I didn't know that.
Yes, with each other. They have a family photo.
Oh, okay.
So are they? Is it like a?
I mean, maybe they're living their best lives, but it's weird. It's
Are the
That shit
Currys
was hella weird,
breaking up?
bro. They divorced
I mean,
last year,
I think
man.
they'll be okay.
They've been divorced.
The Currys?
Yeah, they divorced.
Hey,
The
Dell-
parents,
Dell
the parents. Not,
Oh,
not
really?
the-
not Steph and
Yeah.
Oh, so
Aisha.
that's actually not
They're
that
good.
awkward then.
I mean, it is kind of
Nah.
awkward when they've been married for like 30 years. Now they with their neighbors.
I mean,
Swap
look, man,
wives,
honestly,
swap husbands.
I just, I feel like people do, should live their life as they wish.
Oh no,
all
I
this-
support it 100%.
Yeah, all the shit that we say, or I don't think y'all, but people say is weird. I'm just like, man, there's a lot of weird shit on this earth, so it is what it is.
I guess it's not that weird. I mean,
That's true.
I'm sure like they knew each other from before, and then like somebody was cheating on one of them, and the other one was like, "Well, fuck it."
Bro, how did the Currys always end up in the news on some scandalous shit? And they're like the squeakiest,
Really?
cleanest family. Yeah, you remember when
What else have they done?
when they was
Attention. Aisha,
yeah,
she
I
wanted.
guess.
She was like, I want dudes to be, thirsting over me. Basically, is what she said.
I mean, like
I don't know who she was like
doesn't
trying to
have
compare
the-
herself to in that moment, but it was just like a social media self-esteem moment thing. Like people
Yeah.
put, I think this is like an aspect of people putting too much of themselves on social media, whether they are portraying themselves as hella conservative or not at all. Like niggas don't care, except that for them, it's a brand. Like when you are a public figure, when you are an athlete or any celebrity, like it can be a brand and you can make money off it. So I get why people do it in different respects. But
I mean,
like,
if she started OnlyFans,
it's why I don't
have
do
lots of dudes thirsting over her.
yeah,
yeah, but that would
definitely.
be
definitely.
that's true. But it would also hurt her brand. She
Well,
might think
mean, she just
wants
has to
thirst,
change her
like,
brand.
She wants to thirst.
okay, she could
right?
change her brand. I don't know if y'all have
I mean, she
seen
could be she could
Bel
be a
Air, but that
Kardashian,
happens with
you know?
Hillary on
Her
the new Bel
character,
Air.
she
Yeah,
does the OnlyFans.
Close. She has like a cooking show or some shit like that, which Aisha Curry has a cooking like cookbook. She cooks. Chef Curry, like that's part of the brand, right? With Steph Curry cooking on the like it's a brand.
That's just
They're
pretty
doing a
lame.
thing.
But go on.
That's
Yes, it
very-
is. But I'm just telling you what the brand is. I didn't come up.
She
with
should
that.
change her brand to OnlyFans.
The OnlyFans
Maybe
cookbook
so.
show or whatever the fuck,
Yes, so that was the thing. It's sold like it was profitable, but like the person didn't. Hillary Banks didn't want it to be like her brand. So but she also saw like I'm getting money from this. I'm getting views. I'm gaining clout because all this shit is a rat race. It's all dumb. Clout chasing.
Yeah, man.
It's stupid.
Social
Gotta
media
make your money
is pretty
different
fucking
ways.
toxic, honestly. But I mean,
Speaking of that, I was trying to figure out a good way to actually make this non sequitur when you mentioned posting on Instagram. Ahi, do y'all have TikTok?
fuck no.
Would you consider getting TikTok? Okay, tell me your thoughts on this, Tunde.
Look, in my opinion,
Has it
social
passed
media-
you by? Is this the washed portion of our washed podcast that we didn't get to?
I mean,
we just gave up
it
on
could
social
be,
media,
It
new
could be,
social
but
media.
I use Instagram, and that's still somewhat a young person's, app. But first of all, I've done enough. I've done enough social media. Like one is good for me. I don't use Facebook. I don't use Twitter except the RTBTH Twitter occasionally. I just do Instagram. Secondly, I mean, there's a good bit of psychology research that connects social media with mental health problems. So
okay, tell us more.
Exactly, man. All this shit, and the fact that it affects your attention span.
What mental health problems? Definitely your attention span. But
right?
wait,
But
tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, there's a paper online. It's a working paper. One of the authors is Jonathan Haidt. He's written some books. He goes on like Bill Maher and shows like that. He's very, very, intelligent social psychologist at NYU. I forgot the other author's name. I think maybe Gene Twenge. They have a working paper. It's like 100 and some pages where they are compiling research, at the intersection of social media and mental health. Honestly, there's actually some compelling data to suggest that it's not that bad, but then there's also a lot to suggest that it is bad. But just like there are charts that show around the year of 2013, like adolescent and teenage mental health just spikes. Like the way Jonathan Haidt talks about it, it's like literally the day we graduated is when the shit started popping off. Like it's like literally 2012, 2013 should just go skyrocket.
I remember Twitter popping off when we were in college, where like I think it was we might have to bleep this name, but was
oh yeah, she got everybody on.
Yeah,
Twitter.
she was like, yo, y'all gotta sign up for this shit sophomore year.
Hell yeah,
and we were like, I bought it for a minute.
It worked. She did it. She got me on Uber too. So she's a trendsetter, bro. I will bleep that.
Deleted every single one of my tweets like 8 years ago.
Me too.
You can keep it in. We like it. She's a friend of the podcast. I don't know if she listens.
Go hard.
I just didn't want people to think that she was out here shilling for Twitter, but maybe she is. Actually, she's got ads on Instagram. She be selling stuff. She's an influencer. She's an influencer. She has done the thing that, I mean, and I don't even want to be hating on it. Like I said, people have brands. They are, developing and doing things, whether they're selling something and making money off of it, which I think Instagram and social media is making it easier for some people to do, which again, share the wealth. That's what's up. Get all the coins you can, but it's just not for me. And I recognize that when you are not making money and you're using it as like a vehicle, as young people do, it can cause mental problems. Making comparisons. But then, people might also say, all right, is it toxic for you to be watching like a lot? I think it is this. This is a bad example. I'll think of a better example in a second. But like watching a bunch of reality TV, is that, associated with mental health?
Bro,
could we identify associations with mental health?
Man, me and Daniela, we were watching the Kardashians, right? She didn't really watch it that much. And then I watched it for the first time. I swear to God, I never seen the show before.
And then you felt like you had a mental health disorder after you watched it.
I was pained.
Because that's how I feel, bro. I'm gonna say it.
I was pained. Yeah, dude. I felt like
it hurts me.
It was like I understand, like a pseudo world that they live in. It's a pseudo
there's
world.
A release.
It's not real.
Like people are using it as like, I get all of this, right? People are using it as an escape, right? It's escapism. Even if you have a good life and I don't know if that's 100% at least true. I'm not. So what happens is people are looking down on people like doing the bullshit. Like, oh, I don't have to deal with, that dude is eating spiders on TV right now. Well, that's crazy. Or, look at these people having drama in the fucking Jersey Shore house, or, look, these people who have mental illness who we chose to put on TV. I don't have that mental illness. Meanwhile, people are perpetuating, and I'm taking, not that these are your words today, but like I'm just extrapolating points here. People are, reflecting and having their own mental illness while watching people on TV with mental illness act out on the camera because it's entertaining, because we are entertained by it. We all love that shit, which is also why we watch social media. I follow Only and Date. I follow fucking Georgia Follows or whatever the fuck.
So dead ass though. I mean, look, it could be argued that Kim K or her family have mental or personality disorders. I don't know. What I saw so clearly. I haven't seen enough of it to know. But what I saw so clearly was how manufactured the show was. It came across so obviously.
Oh yeah, it's produced. They just line them up.
Half the activities, half the shit is so set up, and I'm like,
all of the shit, not half the shit.
Well, yeah, I mean,
all the Real Housewives, they're like, oh yeah, go to this place and do this thing. Oh, they're gonna be out of this thing, so you're gonna act a fool, and then that's a wrap.
But then they use this platform to exactly, and people want to emulate a lot of that stuff. So you see people behaving, dressing, talking like they do.
Okay. Do you
Way
feel
to
like video
associate themselves with
games
that lifestyle.
do you feel like video games have made us more violent? Non sequitur.
Bruh, I will say, no, that's a good question. And it's funny because
Like any media, basically, are we beholden to whatever we're watching? Which, I feel that.
So here's I have a point on this. So
Can we blame the Capitol riots on Call of Duty?
No, I would have said yes before, but then I saw this. There was some like scholar. I don't remember people's names, but
Was it Bill Maher?
Nah, maybe it was on
not
Bill
a scholar.
Maher.
Don't you dare put him in our goddamn ranks,
Bill Maher is
bro.
not a scholar.
Man, Bill Maher is a fucking genius,
for
man.
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher is a
but
fucking
he's not
genius.
a scholar, bro. There's a difference between a scholar and being smart.
But he had a segment about how we have glorified gun violence in TV shows.
But no, it was on. I think it was separate from that. But anyway, the whole point behind it was that they were saying they showed the rates of gun violence in like Japan, UK, and then the US, and obviously this graph is sloping upwards. And they were saying, well, and it's like 10 times between Japan and UK, and then 10 times between, or some like multiplier. It was like wildly different. And so they were like, well, are you saying that the US consumes 300 times more violent video games and movies than Japan, or 20 times as much as Great Britain, to explain this difference in gun violence? It's like, no, it's the availability of guns and the way people access weapons.
Yes,
right.
Agreed.
And so it doesn't really follow as much, because I would have said like, yeah, I mean, I keep hearing about all these what I call Call of Duty rap, where you hear all these these little hot boys out here from Memphis and Atlanta talking about
gun noises.
They spinning.
Funny.
Everybody's spinning now. Everybody's got a body or 10.
Hey man, Young Thug was apparently really doing that shit. We need to talk about that. That needs to be on the list.
But people, I mean, I can't say I blame that on Call of Duty or John Wick. I can't really say I blame it on them. Not saying that it helps, but it definitely isn't the cause. I think. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I agree with you, but I think that it's an amalgam of things where, like, I basically got to that point because we were describing people consuming media, it impacting their brains, not always calling all this mental illness, and then making decisions based on realities that are not reality. So in terms like this, it was a bad example. Like I said, I prefaced it with, this is not a good example, but gun violence is kind of an extreme thing. But I do think that like media, information, shit around our surroundings, if you're surrounded by trauma, you are associated with likely being involved in future trauma. It just, it's kind of part of social determinants of health. Like people get stuck in cycles, it just,
and like I said, it doesn't help. Right. And what Tunde was talking about was from the Bill Maher thing, was about how movies and video games, the violent forms of that, they're all essentially revenge movies, like getting back at someone for wronging you, or when you were a kid, they did this. There's a lot of
they make the gunman seem right.
Culture.
They make whoever's doing the final shooting like, all right, that guy is the hero.
They pushed him too far, right? Like this guy, now he's doing his righteous
John Wick,
deed.
they shouldn't have killed his dog, or
right.
Whatever.
John Wick done killed like 1,000 people across all the movies.
Over a dog, bro.
Yeah, so that is a little problematic.
That's that Mike Vick, bro. Oh man.
Real quick, Herschel, back about TikTok. So again, the answer is no. I will not get a TikTok. The other reason, two more reasons. The other one is because the algorithm is like hyper powered, and like people really get sucked into it, man. It's just like too good of an app.
I've heard that too.
And I mean, I don't know algorithms too well, but I've had to read a little bit about it for my dissertation, and I am interested in AI. I mean, algorithms are problematic. They're everywhere. They be algorithm.
Yes, but they are basically geared to increase consumption.
Yeah, man. But the thing is,
the other side of it that is because the company is owned by a Chinese firm, right?
That's the third reason.
And it's like they're collecting all this data on you, your community, and then they learn how to manipulate that environment.
I mean, Russia didn't need it to be a Russian app to do the same thing with Facebook.
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly.
Well,
Right,
Facebook
but
is corrupt too. Facebook
but how
is
much
also
easier would it
trash.
be- Exactly. That's why I don't use Facebook. Right? It's like.
But
it's
you
like,
use
how much
Instagram.
Easier would it
But
be
you-
to do
but
it on a
you
on a
both
platform
use
that you
Instagram.
have
Yeah, I told you.
But you
Look,
both.
I told you it's a
Wow,
guilty
splitting
pleasure.
hairs.
It's like playing a video game. I'll do one thing. It's fine.
One more
Like,
guilty pleasure. What's one more? What's one more?
on
hit?
Instagram. I mean, don't.
Yo, take this. Tie off your arm real quick. I got you.
Yeah, okay.
All I do is
But you know
funny- is
with
watch
the
funny hood videos. That's all I watch on Instagram.
yeah, you know, it's. I mean, look, you can't
I'm
like
trying to see some hood shit.
have it hyper powered. The fucking TikTok algorithm like hyper powered trying to do that. You know, like. But you know, the whole like ByteDance thing and them owned by a Chinese corporation. I mean, I hope we don't get dragged. We will get dragged because that's the world we live in. But it's not about, you know,
I hope
it
we
being a
get dragged.
Chinese company. It's the fact that China's policies with, you know, data and media are very anti-democratic and anti-liberal.
Exactly.
You know. And I mean,
and to further their own, like for the preservation of their government, their system of
Mm-hmm.
living, they're going to do that, right? And I mean, you can't lie, it's worked for them pretty well. I mean, in terms of developing their nation, so can't really knock.
man, that's
them
just
on
gonna
that.
come collapsing.
But geopolitically, it's sort of like
I mean, ours is
it's-
collapsing right now, is it not? We came very close.
Man, we've been here
to a
before.
coup.
We've been here before.
Bruh. So I've been watching. All right, we got to fast forward real quick to these fucking J6 hearings because I've been watching these
All
shits
right.
and it seems like we were close as fuck to them having a constitutional crisis. Like they,
Bro,
definitely almost-
that's exactly how I
some
feel too.
They
politicians,
had Mike
bruh.
Pence in a,
So it's
in
not
a
that
bunker,
close.
bro. They wasn't even in a bunker. They had him in a parking deck.
No,
bro. They were like
he was
6
just
feet from his
underneath.
ass.
Yeah, he was underneath the building, just like, you know, probably what did they say, like 40 feet from them, from the rioters and shit. But yeah,
Yep.
like, and it wasn't even just
They said
him.
they
Like,
would've
they could have got
hung
their
him,
hands
bro.
on anybody.
Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
Yes,
they
they
would
were
have
gonna-
hung this dude. That's crazy as hell.
And it's to me, it's still. I mean,
You
I don't know
hang
what
it,
it
dude,
changes.
bro.
Like
Oh,
what
no.
happens? Does like the military just answer to Trump after that? Like, but okay. So basically, in these fucking hearings, which are long as fuck, and they did have like new information and shit out, and not a ton of new information, but it was like, oh shit, this is never before seen. The fucking QAnon shaman was in Arizona doing the same shit. Like they had this dude on video in his same outfit and hat and shit. I was like, oh shit, that's the motherfucking guy. And then he did the same. I was like, wow, this was actually very much orchestrated. They basically lay out like, all right, not only did he work these people up into a tizzy and like they broke down with riots and you know whatnot, but they also were like creating fake documents, harassing public officials on like literally every level, judges, fucking other Congress or not Congress people, but like people who were over the electorate and shit. This motherfucker, I can't believe the president like was tweeting out and saying like regular ass citizens' names, not politicians or you know political people. But he was like, "Yo, this lady right here is the one who stole it from me, Ruby Freeman, I think." Some
Yeah,
old
and
ass
in
lady.
Georgia,
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was like, bro, what
that
the
shit is
fuck?
mad problematic. It really is targeting Americans. That's just crazy. Look, at one point I was like, you know, I thought maybe it was a little bit, not the January 6th hearings, but the fact that it had been kind of litigated in the court of public opinion over and over and is being pushed by the Democrats. I thought, okay, maybe this is a little partisan, but now
They got
I'm
Republican
convinced.
judges and shit up there. Like, bruh, we told this dude he was wilding, and he just kept pushing, and nobody wanted to stop him. It's not just partisan. It started as that. One of the things he was saying was like him and this motherfucker Giuliani were like, "Yo, come on, aren't we all Republicans here?" To a Republican judge in I don't know if it was Arizona or wherever the fuck, but they were like leaning as hard as they could on the system that they thought that's how the shit worked. And like, thankfully, a couple of people, you know, were real enough motherfuckers, like
Rudy
not to just
Giuliani
fold.
He's a real crook, bro. Like,
Yes,
Dude.
I mean, they both are. Yeah,
he got he
But
got
they-
I mean, we knew
debarred,
about
man.
Donald Trump. We
Yo,
knew
they
about
got
Donald
close as
Trump.
fuck. Well, but he became president, and like some other motherfucker, John Eastman or whatever, like they almost
That's
got
his
in
lawyer.
there. They got very close to being all the way up in there. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's crazy.
I think it
loopholes
was
in like phrasing.
I think it was a constitutional crisis. You know, like I just feel like we have to do something more for our fucking country.
And they would have to indict him.
Earlier.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
can't
and they
indict
should.
him.
He
Well,
should
I
be
mean, it would
indicted.
Yeah, but the issues before
Well, I mean,
when they were like trying to
think they
impeach and
can't.
shit like that. Bro, they can't because, well, I don't know what
They can.
They don't know. Nobody
They
knows.
should.
Well,
Nobody
they can.
knows what they can do.
They can and they should, but they can't because they created this false like system where they can't. So they can't
because
Yes.
he's a president or a
Yes.
former president. You can't indict a president, and if it's up to what's his name, Dick Cheney, it's like
Yeah.
if the president does it, it's not illegal. That's like the
Exactly.
theory, the unitary executive theory. It's like
I
if the
love it.
president
Yeah.
does it, so even if the president does some illegal ass shit because he
Yeah.
did it, and I'm just like, man, look, I understand
That
that.
shit makes no fucking sense.
I understand that
Makes no
because
fucking sense.
Gerald Ford, I think that was the president after Nixon. He
Pardoned him.
Yes, he pardoned him, and I actually thought that was the right thing to do because.
But nobody's pardoned Trump.
But the thing is that it's kind of like the same thing. It's like you don't indict him because you don't want this to rip our nation apart. But I'm just like, man, the dude
it's already
was
been
a
ripped.
criminal, huh?
And I've just read like, political scientists be like, yo, we also fucked up in not punishing the South when they fucking literally ripped the nation apart.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think they were gonna like do more, and then Lincoln got assassinated. So like that was kind of a hang up there. But like, again, people forget that there have been multiple constitutional crises, and each time one side, I'll let y'all figure out which side it is way too lenient on the punishment for the other. And what ends up happening is they come on back and it rears its ugly head. You know what happened to Hitler? He killed himself because they were going to kill him. He had to go. He took over. This was very close. A fucking, not Che Guevara, but like all these other fucking coups that happen in South America and shit like that. You know what happens to the other dude? They get disappeared. They gone.
Hell yeah.
They are not
That's
running
real.
again. The way
That's
they're
real.
talking about it now, this man Trump has the potential. I'm not gonna say it's likely because we don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. But if he wins the primary for Republicans to be on the 2024 ticket, he is allowed to run again. I don't think he's gonna win. Motherfuckers are not gonna vote for him. Like it just won't happen.
I don't
Bruh,
know.
nah, because it didn't happen.
I don't know.
He lost the popular vote twice. He will have even less this time.
Bro, he's
But
fucking
you
up
don't
the
need to
game.
win
Gonna be like-
popular votes,
but
though.
they're
Why do
coming
people
back.
think? Why do people think you need to win the popular
Okay,
vote? To be the
that's
president?
that's just an example,
You
but
don't.
he lost the electorate. He lost
Yeah,
like
but that
outright
nigga was
the
hella
last
close.
time. Yeah, he was hella close both times. In fact, I
Bro,
agree.
and people are
But there
mad
can't-
right now,
it's too
bro.
much of an embarrassment.
People are mad. I mean, look at the gas
But-
prices we were talking about at the beginning.
That's a stupid reason to vote, though. That's so
look, bro,
dumb.
But this is what people vote on. They vote. I mean, half
feel
people
you.
are voting because of abortion, bro. How many people in their lives have
I
been
feel
affected
you.
by abortion, right? This is how they're voting behind stupid shit, right? They don't care about what actually benefits them: tax code, education, fucking foreign policy. They don't care about that shit. They care about the bullshit that's easy for them to understand, right? And they can understand
true.
that shit. And Trump is telling them
Yeah,
simple
immigrants.
shit
That's what
that
they
strikes to
understand.
their heart,
They
and
took
they
their
get mad
jobs.
about it. And they will vote for his ass. And that's the problem. That's why demagogues and all these people are very popular. It's not because they figured out some kind of very complicated scheme. They just have very
it's
simple
basic.
shit that
Yeah.
they tell people. They get
That's
on
true.
their nerves and they just go behind. I mean, that's why Trump is going to, I mean, if they let him run again, he very well might win.
Nah, bruh. I don't think he would have the like structural backing that he had previously, where like Fox News and them are not fucking with him anymore. Like I think it's a wrap. So, I don't think we should even entertain.
You're only
the
saying that
idea.
because it's not 2024 when people are running campaigns. Wait till people actually start getting out there
bruh.
trying to fucking whip up votes.
See how many
You guys
times
just made
Tucker
me
Carlson
terrified a little
blows
bit.
this dude on
You
Dude,
guys
I mean, I
terrified,
think
low-key.
it's a good chance he's president again. But
No fucking way. At 84
I mean-
or whatever.
oh yeah,
age.
I mean, dude, there's no
Bruh.
one in the Republican Party who
and
can
I know
step
y'all
to him
saw
right
Biden
now.
fall off that bike.
Man, that was
It
not
was
even
all
a
over
real fall,
Instagram.
man. That was
No,
that
it
was
wasn't,
way
but it was
I
overblown.
didn't see this.
Yeah, of course.
That was way overblown.
Of course. Bet
But
Bill
it-
Maher
it
got
was-
some jokes about it though.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
laughed at.
it's like the media ecosystem just going ham because they have to because the president and he fell off
Yes,
a bike.
every time.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Yeah,
he
I
actually
mean-
fell, though. That dude is on the ground for real.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm surprised that he's actually riding a bike.
That's also true. He's a
Man,
little
why
up there.
y'all making fun of this dude, man? He's still
No,
like,
he's 81 years old or whatever.
I mean,
How
it's
old
hard.
is-
He could have broke a hip. Let's be real. He could
Yeah.
have broke a hip on that fall right there. And
Yeah.
that can be a death. Like, I don't know what his bone structure is. Like, I'm sure that all that's tested so they know, like, all right, you are good. But,
He
like,
was on
even
hella
then,
calcium pills. You know,
yeah, you
drinking
can
all
fuck
the milk.
around. Bruh, hey, I'm sure you
got vitamin
learned.
D
I don't know what the fucking veins and
I
arteries are up in there,
see.
but
Oh,
yeah, it could've been
the
a
bike
wrap.
Fell on and hit him in the leg. He fell over.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
he got his leg caught in the little strap thing.
Yeah.
Like honestly,
it could have happened to anybody. Like it really was. It was innocuous, but at the same
hopped
time,
right up though. Homie hopped right up.
Yeah,
though.
but that's the thing. You don't see that in the clip.
Yeah,
but
you don't. I didn't see that
thank
part.
God he hopped right up, but you don't see that in the one that the media put out there.
Up, bro. He was like,
I today haven't seen the man.
Same,
Send me the
same.
one
I
where
haven't
he
seen
popped
that
up because I haven't seen it.
Bro,
He might
popped
still be
right
down
up,
there.
bro.
All
They
I
didn't even
know.
help him up. I'll send it right
But
now.
I mean, the thing is that he's 79 actually, not 81. But he'll be 81 when he runs again. I think if he runs again, hopefully he doesn't because he old. But the fact that he's riding a bike, I mean, I think that's pretty impressive, you know. And he's like riding with other people. It's not like he's got like open space that he could just go straight. Like he's got to actually navigate some shit.
Man, why do y'all act like this dude is like he's senile and just completely just?
Oh no, he was okay. He got
mentally,
up pretty quick.
mentally like finished. Bro.
I mean, that's what people talk about. Honestly, like I watched Ben Shapiro on YouTube, not because I think he's kind of crazy, but he's the most level-headed. He's reasonable. He's reasonable as fuck. He went to Harvard Law School, man. You can't.
Your
what does that have to do with nothing, bro?
Bro, he's
Yeah,
he's a reasonable guy. He's conservative as fuck. I know that. But look, if you're trying to get a conservative opinions,
I'll say it. Conservatives are unreasonable.
oh my gosh. Look, we need a healthy balance of conservative and liberal principles, and maybe slightly more
man,
liberal.
Look at what happened. I mean, bro,
I'm just
yes.
fucking
I
with
mean,
y'all.
look what they did in San Francisco. This dude, the
What did they do,
prosecutor
Ahe?
wasn't prosecuting.
What did they do,
the
bro?
prosecutor, or I mean, what of what? I mean, which of the many things are we? No, but they
You tell me.
The DA, man, the DA was not prosecuting nothing. Did I tell y'all the story?
I've heard about it, but I'm not. I don't think we have all your
the
details
story
you
that I
got.
witnessed of crime, like how rampant this shit was, like non-prosecution, bro.
Tell us about it, bro.
So I was walking down Broadway. I was gonna go pick up some food, and I walked by this convenience store, and all I hear is like, "Hey, stop! Hey, stop! Hey, come back! Hey, stop!" And then I walk by the door, like literally, it's like, I look in the hallway in front of the store, and I see this dude walking out. He had, in his arms, he's like bear hugging like bags of chips, Doritos, Gatorades, like a whole bunch of stuff. And behind him is like the clerk trying to like chase after him. The dude wasn't even running though. The dude was just walking out the door. And then the dude was like, "Hey, stop, stop, stop." So then the dude that's stealing all this stuff took a bag of chips and threw it at the dude that was chasing him and kept walking. And there was like 6 of us outside. There was like 6 people like me who heard this shit going down. And we just watched this happen. And then we looked, he walked by all of us and we were looking at each other like, "Yo, are we supposed to stop this dude?"
Yeah, that's a great way to commit a crime. Just,
Bruh, is that
this shit belongs to me?
Dude, I've seen all the memes and all the YouTube videos, but I didn't know. I thought it was just like a few little handful type joints.
No, I thought it was like that too till I seen this shit. I was so blown away. I swear to God on my life, this shit was real. I did not make this up at all.
Bruh, that is crazy.
I was like, damn, I should have had my fucking phone out. That was my first thing I
Bruh,
thought.
so the DA really just was hands off completely, huh?
Complete hands off, bro. And after that, I seen people steal stuff out the grocery store. Nobody stopped them. Like
That's
they just
crazy.
come and grab some like, Hawaiian rolls and a bag of chips and some water, and then
And he just walked out.
Wait, so I
how
don't
they do
understand. Was this dude was the DA? He just was not doing his job.
But
I mean,
he
you
told
know-
them
you
not
know
to
the-
prosecute anything less than like $50 or $100 or something like that.
On the very extraordinarily liberal spectrum of governance and policy, I mean, there's the sort of defund the police, strain of thought, and with that is probably very lax, application of the law and prosecution of crime because it disproportionately affects certain groups of people, and that's the sort of ethos behind defund the police is that when the police are hyper powered and they got fucking SWAT teams and ballistic shields and shit, they use those tools and those devices against people of color and marginalized groups. So part of that is, at least this is what my thought. I'm kind of just
No.
speculating
This
here.
is a theory. This is exactly what they
Yeah.
said. Yeah.
So part of that is like the application of criminal, prosecution. And so I guess in San Francisco they just decided to just not do nothing.
Bro, they were not doing that, but the police were on a holiday. Yo, but what happened was
The police were on a holiday. What?
I mean, they just weren't doing shit. I don't know what they were doing. But half the I think it was like 40% of all the prosecutors in the city quit because they were like, this is absurd. This makes no fucking sense, right? And crime is going up, like small crime, so it's like fucking up businesses. Like people like Walgreens, all these other places were closing down businesses because they were literally systematically
theft
being
and
robbed like every day. So, that was kind of bad. People were kind of tired of seeing it. I mean, I had to vote for get the dude out of there too, man. Because after I seen that shit that I told y'all about, I was like, bro, this can't.
You had to take your ass down there to vote. I feel you, bro.
This can't be going on no more, man. It's too much.
Yeah.
So,
damn. Yeah, that's I mean, look, I consider myself an incremental progressive because I'm definitely trying to progress. Like, he has said this before. Like, why would you not want to progress? You know, but this shit's got to go slow, man.
Yeah, they progressed too far. But I mean, they were saying like I was reading, so it's great because in San Francisco, I don't know if they do this a lot of places, but like for each of the, maybe not each of them, but for most of the different resolutions or things people vote on, these little decisions, they send out a booklet with like arguments in support and against each thing, and they have like multiple. Like it was the first time I ever seen that.
Yeah, they sent them out here too. I experienced that too, like maybe a year ago, 2 years ago. I thought that was very impressive as well.
I was very happy because I read through that junk and I was like, oh, okay. And then it was funny because there was multiple former prosecutors in their office that wrote complaints and shit or against or for getting rid of him, whatever it is. And they were saying that there were other examples of how to do this in other cities that people have shown that it worked. Then they're like, we don't understand why he took this radical approach that was unproven and clearly not working and didn't want to change. And so everybody was like, yeah, we had to quit because he just wouldn't listen to anyone. And so I was like, yeah, man, this is it. But I was pretty impressed with that little booklet they sent out, though. And they need to do that more often for these things. Yeah,
man, trying to get information out to the people, which is, a good thing to do.
Speaking about police, though, before you move on, speaking about the police, y'all heard about this Uvalde police chief and
bruh, this is what I'm saying, man. Bruh, they geared up all these cops. They got fucking they got battle helicopters, bruh. They got fucking assault rifles, ballistic shields and shit. And they still
outside.
Like, why give them all that gear if they're not going to use it?
Bruh, no. So what happened was apparently they said that the police, first of all, the police was chasing this dude to the school. So they knew where he was. The police was there already when he got there.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, he like wrecked his car and shit and then ran into the school, shot at some other people in like a church or some shit, then went into the school.
Exactly. So so they knew he was there. So it wasn't more than 10, 15 minutes before people were at the school, right? Max. So,
which still seems like a long time to me. If they were like on his ass.
But then they proceeded to stand outside the door that was unlocked and unbarricaded. And then the police chief apparently didn't want to send anyone in there without the shields, without all the assault rifles. Like, they all had pistols, but he was like, nah, don't go in there until you get completely geared up. Then he was waiting for radios. Apparently the radios didn't even work in the school, so they just wasted time. And then they was asking for keys for an unlocked door that didn't exist. And so I'm just like blown away. Like, how do you manage this? How did you manage to fuck up this bad?
In the state of Texas too. Like, this is where they really supposed to be popping off.
I mean, they were just unprepared. They thought they was a small town. This would never happen to me.
Small town, bro. They had a SWAT team.
Bro, they went and got that SWAT team from somewhere. That's probably what it is.
The SWAT team made it in like
America. Every town has a SWAT team. They got it right.
The SWAT team made it quick. Like, it wasn't like they were, and they had the state police or something.
Though. I'm mad though. The kids' parents were outside fighting with the police trying to get up in there and like rescue their kids, and they just wouldn't let. I'm like, bro, like at this point, if y'all can't even move, let these dudes go do the job. Like, it's like you're saying, what's going to stop a bad guy with a gun, a good guy with a gun? Well, the good guys with a gun were being blocked by the police. Does that even make any sense? It doesn't make sense. I just felt so bad when I heard that shit, man. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is pretty bad. Yeah. And I've been like reading articles here and there, but it's just been kind of nonstop like news since it happened. They
need to fire all of those people, bro. Y'all are not qualified to be no kind of police nowhere. Y'all are too fucking,
and they need to be prosecuted too.
Scared. I mean,
but look, yeah. I've never supported defund the police. I always thought it was dumb, but this is kind of, I mean, the author of the new Jim Crow, what's her name? Michelle. Oh my God. Damn it, Herschel.
It's right over here. I'm trying to look at it. Michelle Alexander is the name.
Yes, I'm going to cut all that part out. But yeah, the author of The New Jim Crow, I mean, she writes about this, how like there was just an influx of funding after the war on drugs started. But the thing is that the cops pretty much just started gearing up more and more and more. Like they didn't really need as much gear as that they got. And it ended up being militaristic. You know, the cops
they were getting all this stuff as surplus, right? Because they were buying so much for the actual military that they didn't want. So then the military was forced to sell it at discount surplus rates. So they were getting these things for 20 cents on the dollar. And so they're like, well, of course. I mean, why get the regular rifle when I could get the military capable shit for the same price?
Like, y'all got 3 battle helicopters for $1,500? Oh yeah,
take 6 of them hoes.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is like, why give the police this much money to gear up? Like, okay, yeah, the school shooting. First of all, they're still very rare, so it's not like you need cops to be on that level all the time. But okay, fine. This guy was dangerous. He had an assault rifle. I mean, they could have took him out with assault rifles. They still had like everything available to them. They probably. So I'm not saying defund the police, but we don't necessarily have to give them all this gear, and maybe redirect those funds to other things like training the police to not be incompetent or some shit, Yeah, or they need to get those like Boston, those dogs from Boston Dynamics. Those
the running dog,
robot dog. If y'all gonna spend money, go spend it on this. Most motherfuckers put some fucking,
chase somebody down. Robot dogs tackle the fucking shooter.
No, they got the Android, the Android looking ones, the ones that can walk on 2 feet. Those ones are scary as hell. Bro, imagine those dudes run up in a building, man. And they move fast too. They actually can run.
Yeah,
they got good balance.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah,
it's wild. I'm like, bro, if they send one of them things in there, bro, you got.
Bro, do you feel like you could, bro? I think I could take one. I think
if it was
bro,
armed?
if you knock it down, armed with what? They're not gonna send an armed droid in to a place where the kids were.
They sent a bomb droid in against that Dallas shooter. Was it?
Yeah,
Dallas?
but it was just him.
Dallas. They blew this dude up.
Wait, in Dallas?
Wasn't it Dallas? It was during the protest, and then there was a dude who was sniping police. Wasn't it in Dallas?
Well, that did happen in Dallas, but I'm not sure if it ended in a droid. I do remember what that was.
Did. No, whoever was sniping, he was like a ex-military dude. He was sniping the cars, killed like 5 or 6 of them from a parking garage. Then he barricaded himself somewhere behind a wall. They knew it was behind the wall. They just walked the droid up to the wall and then blew it up.
Gotcha.
Some kind of robot.
I do remember that happening. I didn't remember it was Dallas, but I do remember them doing that somewhere in the nation. I guess it was Dallas.
I'm pretty sure it was Dallas.
Yeah, man, that shit was pretty crazy, that Uvalde shit. But I mean, hopefully shit pops off, man, and people get indicted. Word to our former conversation about Trump. People need to fucking get the book thrown at them when they do criminal shit. Like you can't have years and decades and centuries of like subjugating a group of people, whether it's black people or whoever, and then when you got the police acting crazy, do it, or when you got the president acting crazy, indict them and prosecute them and shit.
I mean, that's the oppressor's playbook, is it not? Hold it down.
You are correct.
Just point all the blame on everybody until it's your turn, and then do nothing. But yeah, I feel you that it was much more than just them having the equipment. I think it had to do with training and the inaction, and there is where leadership at the very least needs the book thrown at them. Like, all right, bro, you can't be a leader of men if you can't figure out what the best decision in this particular situation was. But I mean, I don't have high expectations for the police because even then, bro, they have a whole fucking union. They're like the goddamn baseball union. Them niggas are not gonna serve no time. That's why all these police always get off. That's why it's been so difficult when there's a police shooting of a black person that they rarely get fired, and when they do get fired, they get reinstated like a year or two later, and then they get their payback and all kinds of other bullshit. Like it's very rare that they serve any real time. I think there's been like 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's very few, man. It's very rare, but I don't know. Hopefully something changes, man.
Yeah. What you got, Tune?
All right. So we definitely not going to talk about this one that you put. Is that Herschel or
not?
Nah,
Herschel?
I put that in there. I put that in there.
All right.
Okay,
I mean, do you want to, Ehi? Do you want to? I'll talk about it.
No, I mean, all I want. I mean, look, it's just like the news blurb in the sports arena. Everybody heard about good old Leah and her swimming exploits. Well, the International Swim Federation, I think, whoever the people in charge, like the Olympics and all the international swimming competitions.
I think it's different from the Olympics. It's like FINA. I don't think but I mean, it's still a high, very sort of competitive. They probably are the ones that do the competitions that are not the Olympics, like the World Championships and shit like that. But I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, they essentially have banned trans women from competing in traditional female competitions if they transition post male puberty. So they were saying that they had to prove that they transitioned before they started to have the effects of male puberty, which, I mean, from a medical sense, the only reason why I wanted to bring this up was because this is just an example of people using understanding of biology and science and things that are not based on emotion to make a decision. This has been clear across the board from the beginning for anyone who understands medicine and biology and science, that there is a difference once muscles have undergone prolonged exposure to male puberty in terms of the hormones, the muscular development. That whole structure doesn't just go away, as you can see in many cases. So,
as we can see, by what? By Leah Thomas?
Yeah, I mean,
she loves. Go on.
I mean, but it's true.
He's making a good point, though. You fucked it up. You can't put this now, but he was making. Because women,
once you've gained like 4 or 5 extra inches, I mean that in itself, is
that alone,
an advantage, right? I mean, not to talk about the muscular structure, the bone structure. I mean, come on. I mean, it's not. Not to say that they shouldn't be able to compete. I think actually what they said was that they were going to think about how to come up with a separate category.
An open category,
men and women to compete. Because that's I mean, I think it's fair, but I don't think it's fair to compete with other people who haven't had that same essentially performance enhancing experience that they have.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah, bro, I totally agree pretty much with what you were saying. There were a couple of things that I thought were interesting about that particular story. So FINA is like, I guess, the governing body that's identified by the International Olympic Committee. So they're not the Olympics, but like, they're, the official way.
They're trying to swimming for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. For all, thoughts and purposes, that's who they are. But some of the language around, and this is just a thing around, transgender conversations, particularly in America. I guess only in America, because I don't know that anywhere else is talking about this like this. But some of the verbiage around it, I was like, damn, that's kind of harsh and just like toxic. Like, are you trying to use this as like so the word ban, right, has a negative connotation. Like, it's clear, like, all right, you're laying down the law versus, as I was like kind of Googling and reading on this, different headlines say different things. Some of it, like the official thing is like, oh, they've restricted women or transgender women who have transitioned after going through male puberty from participating in these sports. That language, like restricted versus banned, was just an interesting phrasing that I saw in a lot of different things. Like TMZ was like banned, and I feel like that's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, it's gonna get clicks, and I mean, sure,
yeah,
but,
that's real.
That. So, are there other instances in society where we use that word without like? So let's say a college bans alcohol. What does that sound like to you? Like, oh man, that's like BYU or some Christian institution where like they. It sounds like they're dropping the hammer. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
and even the way you read the statement, I was like, oh, that's a lot more innocuous than, oh, you're creating another category so that these people are not particularly left out, but they don't have a clear advantage over an established
biological,
group that is able to compete in these things. So I just think it's even though, we've discussed earlier, like it's a very small percentage of like the entire population. I guess it's interesting that, we're caring about like this very small sliver of people, but like how many, I don't know.
I think the other thing I want to bring up is just because, this is just one example of people using our understanding of biology and science to kind of make a very rational decision. It's not emotional. It's just kind of based on facts. Another example would be an abortion where, people are saying, oh, the life begins at conception. It's like, well, let's just do this from a very empirical biological sense. When can this fetus survive on its own outside the female body? Then it's a life of its own. So we know how early that it's about 21, 22 weeks. We can keep a baby alive and make them be fairly somewhat normal most of the time when they are, grown up. We should state it at that. And if we have evidence that we're able to do it earlier, then you move the date earlier, right? This is not an ambiguous thing. I mean, medicine, we know this. Ask any pediatrician, any NICU professional will tell you these things are just facts. They're known, right? And once the technology gets better, if that's what they want, right? All these people who are putting money into anti-abortion, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, that's fine. But just transition that money into neonatal research, right? Make sure that you can keep these babies alive and grow babies outside of a human body since day one, right? Do that, and then you'll have.
But they don't care about that. Those who are making the decisions. I agree with you that we should be making our decisions based on information.
A lot of kids who would survive, that their parents go into, the mom goes into early labor or whatever, they lose the baby, right? I mean, terrible things happen. If we have the capability to support these kids outside, then you would have even more. It's like, forget abortion. Like there's preterm labor and preterm babies that are being born and dying all the time, probably more so than abortion, that you could help save. So, I don't know.
Hey, I feel you though, because the problem is that we make so many decisions based on, some kind of like socio-political
morality.
Yeah, and I mean that shit is so hard to determine because everyone has their own sort of faith or understanding of the world, Because I mean the evangelicals will tell you that conception happens as soon as you stick it in, or life happens as soon as you stick it in, bro. As soon as you hold hands and you getting ready to fuck, and that's completely irrational. That's completely ridiculous. But I mean, people can and have made laws based on that conception and. I mean, this is an issue in, so many other areas. There was one that I blanked on. Anyway, we'll get back to that later. I guess what I was thinking was like the vaccine and all that stuff and like science around COVID and very, very little of it has been actually strictly science. And I guess part of the problem is that scientists have struggled with agreeing. But hey, I actually have a question for you. So I've been thinking, or I've been reading a lot lately about like how a lot of science is not actually true. Like when you publish a study, it's very rare that it approximates reality because it's just one study. And there's so many flaws with any individual study. Like Ioannidis, I think he's at Stanford. He's a researcher that researches. He's like a meta researcher. Is that what they call him?
Oh, does he do meta analyses? I do those.
Sure that's me. No, but he researches research.
Yeah. That's what
So I'm sure he does. Of course. I mean, what kind of meta researcher would you be if you didn't do? But no, he's like one of the most highly cited researchers, and he's got some papers, and I think one of them is actually like why no papers are true or some shit like that. But anyway, so my question is, so there have been studies, there have been people scientists who have said that, and there's research that's been published that says that there's no difference, there's no identifiable difference post-adolescence in terms of competitive advantage. So what do you got to say about those people and their research?
Competitive advantage? Like, what are you talking about?
Between transgender athletes and I guess women athletes. I mean, there have been studies. There have been studies posted, published about this.
I think you almost answer, to jump in while he thinks about this, I think you almost answer your own question there with the preface of like, not only, are all these studies, not that every study is wrong or whatever, but like it doesn't relate to reality. Like if it's a good study, or the gold standard is going to be like a clinical trial, right? And you're never going to be able to have a clinical trial of like, all right, we have this athlete who has a literal twin brother or sister, and one of them transitioned, and now let's see if they can compete or not. But everything through this has been like observational. Yeah, everything through this has been observational. So like whatever conclusions you may come to are only, so it's called like the ecological fallacy, where your inferences from your sample may not particularly relate, one, to an individual, or two, to like the larger. You can make inferences about a population, but you can't make them based on like, all right, this individual person is gonna have, you know, this happen, or this person didn't have or did have transition therapy, and now they are, or you can't make decisions like they are or are not going to have a competitive advantage. It doesn't work like that. And then on top of that, a lot of the research that we do in decision making, hopefully politically, is gained through when there are meta-analyses or systematic reviews on multiple papers that like get a bunch of different observations and a bunch of different samples that can be related to a bunch of different populations, and then you make, you know, your informed decision. The issue is that doesn't always happen. So we fall into, you know, the situations that we're in where people can't wait for information. They can't wait for research. Research takes a long time often. So they make rash gut decisions. That happened with the pandemic. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
but the thing, you know, Ehi, is like, I mean, I guess like you said, Herschel, I kind of didn't answer my own question, but I mean, there has been research, and I haven't investigated it closely, but I've read in like New York Times articles and, you know, other publications that comment on this. There apparently has been research suggesting that there's no competitive advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen any of these papers. Not saying that they're not true or anything like that. I mean, here's what I will say is that, I mean, when you're looking at averages versus the top level performers from each gender, I mean, I think that changes the equation, right? I think if you're looking at, you know, if Joe Schmo guy is competing against, you know, a very well-trained woman, then who's going to win? I mean, it's probably going to be the woman in 99% of the cases, right? And so I think, you know, just because you transition one way or the other doesn't mean that, you know, you are a top level athlete to begin with, right? We're just seeing this in the case of Leah Thomas because she's a top level athlete. She's quite good, right? She's always been quite good. I mean, it wasn't dominating when pre-transition, but I mean, she was pretty good.
She was competing at a high level.
Yeah, very high level, man. Very high level. So, I mean, I think overall, I mean, you have to think about the other way around. It's like you're going to switch from, you know, a female pre-transition to a male, right? Then you're going to be competing against folks who, so does that average out to consequently block it out? I mean, I don't know how they're doing the analysis, right? You can say, oh, are women supposed to be more higher advantageous to men? Who knows? I don't know what these studies are doing, but I think if you look at the top level performers, I think it's clear at the Olympic level, right? Like, look at the women, they're running the same tracks, they're swimming in the same places, look at the times, right? Look at the distances they jump, look at how far they throw, right? You know, so I mean,
there's a clear
it makes a difference.
Indeed. Yeah, I know we got to go ahead and wrap up. I will say one more thing about that. Look, I'm not going to wade into the debate because I'm not trying to get dragged, but I will say this. I think it's completely unfair that all of the issues is completely squarely on women's sports. And that to me is the problem. There's a disparity in the conflict, and the disparity is squarely within women's sports because you never, ever have to have this conversation about men's sports. And I think that's unfair. Regardless of who you think should compete or not, the conflict is, and kind of like you were saying, like if someone goes from female to male, no amount of testosterone or whatever, you know, supplements they need to take in hormone therapy or whatever is going to get them to be able to compete with the top level men, you know, and I mean, I think it's a disparity. It's a disparity of conflict. The conflict is squarely within the women's sporting arenas. But anyway, Herschel, go on.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting that, you know, we're thinking about that disparity. It just reminds me of others in society where the majority of people don't care due to it not affecting them. And the biggest thing to me is like systemic racism. That's just always the easy thing of like, oh, well, you know, if white people don't have to deal with this situation, it's not really going to be solved like what they have done throughout history in, you know, applying different things, particularly, you know, just speaking on America. And I'll wrap this up quick. But we had like, you know, separate but equal. And then people realized, all right, that's unjust. And then even now, you know, there are all types of like just minute limitations following, you know, Jim Crow laws. We just discussed a little bit about the new Jim Crow. So I don't know that this is something that like we as a society, I don't know. I don't even know if it's something that needs to be overcome. Like, I hope we just kind of move on from it and, in 10, 15, 20 years, it's just like, oh yeah, that happened. Just like anytime, the first black doctor or the first black astronaut or the first gay NFL player or any shit like that. Like, the idea would be eventually all these things that are making news and headlines are no longer news. And I don't know that I want to say that, shit should be normalized, but like we hopefully will kind of achieve some sense of normalcy. So that's pretty much all I got.
I mean, that's progress.
Yeah, I mean, I think exactly like you said, Herschel. I think we have to go through this, right? Like, because I think people forget that humans, we came from a place where we weren't able to modify so much, right? We weren't able to realign ourselves with how we feel inside, and you can't, and you have to think. And I think somebody, I'm not even sure who talks about this. Maybe it was Chappelle or somebody, which people are very angry at him. But it's like there's the people who understand it, they have similar experiences, maybe not in the transgender sense, but they have other struggles, like you said, Herschel, in terms of racial justice, etc. Or they have friends, whatever, they're able to relate. And there's people who don't have that experience and they can't relate as easily. Not saying that everyone who doesn't relate is good or bad inherently, right? But I think there has to be some effort in giving them the space to be able to convert to understanding, right? Because I think, initially with in terms of the equality movement for African Americans, that was something that had to be overcome, right? There was a lot of people who just didn't know any black people and they just thought what they heard was true. And,
and they still, some still don't.
Some still don't, right? And it's kind of crazy, right? And, it's, you can say we could just write those people off and just, throw them in a trash bin, but you can't really do that in real life, right? These people are still around. They're still having kids. They're still teaching people stuff. So it's incumbent to give people that opportunity to make that change. Be a little patient with them. Hopefully, these are not the ones that are being insulting and the kind of things. But I think people have to also give folks a chance.
Yeah, that's a good message. Patience. That's what we are leaving our listeners with today on RTBTH.
Absolutely. We'll get to Young Thug later.
Yes, I did want to talk about that, but
I mean, I got some time, man. If y'all got some time, yeah, we can keep going. But otherwise,
you might be muted, Tunde.
Damn, your boy was muted. My bad. Anyway, yeah, we could do a couple quick hits.
Okay, so I just want to say, free YSL. I know them niggas did that shit.
Bruh.
I know they're
them
criminals.
Niggas is
I know they're
criminals.
bad guys. They
them
got
niggas
him
is
on the
criminals.
racketeering. He had bodies on him. Fucking Gunna had rented a car that was used to commit murder in his name, in his fucking government name and shit. They had all kinds of, theft by possession and all kinds. I forget what all the different shit charges, on their list charges were, but niggas are not getting out. They're not even getting
bail.
The trial is not to. Yeah, they got denied bail. Both of them got denied bail because they have the means to. I would
escape,
too.
bro. They need to pull a Carlos.
What you mean you got me on
bro,
racketeering? I'm up out of here.
Bro,
yes.
They need to
just like
Carlos
all the other white people
bro.
that are out
Go
here not getting extradited.
Bro, they need to get out of here, man. They got to figure out a way to get out and get shipped out in a little speaker in a guitar box like they did Carlos Ghosn, man. Look,
shipping container.
No, it was like a speaker set container, like for like a performance. They put that dude in there and they shipped his ass to Lebanon, all the way from Japan, bro.
That's wild.
That dude ain't never leaving.
That dude popped up like this, peace, bro. Like how you end up over there?
Bro, that dude was CEO of 3 companies, man.
At the same time, bro. I thought they were competitors, bro. I'm like, how you CEO of 3 competing companies?
Oh yeah, pulling the puppet strings.
Bro, talk about finesse, man.
Yeah.
But in terms of YSL, first of all, them niggas is criminals. Secondly, rappers these days is really actually like doing criminal shit. And I don't think they recognize that all the rappers before them either stopped or they just embellished their whole careers.
Yeah.
But I was reading about YNW Melly. I didn't even know this dude, but I was kind of like going through the rabbit hole. Brother, he's alleged to have shot 2 of his own dudes.
Yes.
They also had YNW in their rap names.
In the car, apparently. They were showing
Bruh, what's going on here?
The ballistic show that he was doing.
Why are y'all doing this crime shit like this, bruh? Like, you can't go around just shooting people.
Yo, I'm telling you, man, it's the Call of Duty rap, bro. Like, these dudes think they live in Call of Duty.
Man,
like,
I guess so, man.
Their friends about to respawn, bro. That's what they think.
Nah, bruh.
it seems
Can't be that. It can't.
It seems like the rap game is like, at least these sort of like young kind of like SoundCloud type rappers, like they're really kind of fucked up, man. Like a lot of them are addicted to drugs. You know, like Lil Xan has been like having a fucking like whole
seizure for months.
Yeah, right. Like a YouTube, Instagram, like Xanax seizure. You know, I mean, obviously we've got dudes dying left and right from lean, dudes getting shot. It's just is like, I don't know if these niggas really know. Like Juicy J, I don't think he does any drugs. As much as he raps about drugs, I don't think he does anything. Maybe he drinks, maybe he does a little lean.
Do we think Future is about that life?
Right?
Is Future doing all the drugs that he's saying he's doing?
I think probably when he was younger, but he's an old dude. So I think that he probably has grown up to some extent. You know,
I mean, he said he switched from Molly back to the ecstasy, man. He said even though he had the Molly with the crystals,
yeah, he's
back to an X.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, look, moderation, you know, but these young
like,
rap niggas,
they probably
man,
rap about it like the one time they did it last year. They rap about that shit, and people think they do it every day.
Yeah, they play the song every day. Yeah, and then they go out and be like, "Yeah, I'm committing murders every night." Yes, but I mean, I don't know what to tell you. But like, I mean, all of these guys have been. I mean, the rap crime game is very deep. There are many rabbit holes that you can go down. Not just with YNW Melly, but like for a minute, I fell down one with the Chicago rappers with King Von, who got killed here in Atlanta, and then somebody ran up in Lil Durk's house in fucking Chateau Elan. Way far outside of Atlanta,
really?
Trying to shoot him up. Yes,
by Buford, bro. Why does Lil Durk live over there?
It's a nice place.
It's nice, yes, but like it's far.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you more than that. Yes,
it's farther than Buford, bro. You gotta drive.
I think he was trying to get away from the hood. And it didn't work because the hood came to him.
Yeah, man. The
he had to move again. I'm sure. Yes. So
damn, that sucks, man.
But like, yeah, I mean, it's trauma. A lot of these guys are coming up. So I think that like the system of like, you know, development and production and like where they're identifying talent and basically funding, you know, criminal organizations is being funneled through like, oh, you can sell, you know, this is the way we are making money based off you selling these records or doing whatever, and you can fund our criminal activity. Like Lil Wayne basically got caught up with that with the blood. I mean, not caught up because I'm sure he was just like in it. And he ain't had no choice because Baby was like, you don't have no choice. But the way they tell stories about like even Nicki Minaj and stuff, like they went to her on some mob shit of just like, yo, you are not selling yourself right. And then they bought her a fake ass and all the fake stuff and then marketed her in a way that you know, made her a huge star. Mm-hmm. But all of it was under the guise of like, yo, I am a vice or like I am a some gang, you know, membership, some high level, whatever. And I need you to be, you know, cashing in so we can, you know, sell drugs or do whatever else, you know, live the life, right? So absolutely. I think that, yeah. And, you know what happens is,
thing, though? Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say the people just go back to the hood. They go back to what they know in their area. Like the dream is always like, get the fuck out of the hood. Like, what are you doing? Like T.I., why you still got guns in your house? Like, what are you doing, bro? Why are you beefing with the gated security at your own home? Like, cause you're drunk. Like, there's been so many stories of him. But I'm like, also, when he wants another artist so that he can continue to further his revenue stream, he's going back to the streets because also the streets make great music. That trauma is exactly. You know, like you said, somebody is actually doing some of the shit. Not that they are always doing it, but they, you know, they have the experience to now talk about it. Oh man, you know, I saw my brother die the other day, and you know, however, I've heard that in a million different songs. Like it can't possibly be that these dudes have this many friends that's dead. Yeah, and then at the same time, it's probably 3 or 4. And that's all you need.
You know, the other thing I hear in the raps and kind of just observing people is that it seems to me that the music industry has a way of targeting artists that have no other option, that have completely sold out. They have,
oh yeah,
and that it makes
just like any other business,
right? It's like a paying artist who's like incredibly brilliant, but the ones that make it are the ones that seem like they had no other option. And in many cases, I actually do believe that they didn't. And that's why they were selected, because they would be easily manipulated and controlled because, you know, you can't leave, right? Or that, or you basically die. And I think that kind of shines out to me when I look at a lot of these
funny analogy.
These rappers, you know?
Yeah, funny analogy. I think the same thing happens in a lot of sports. And then when it doesn't work out because somebody comes from a nice home, everybody gets all up in arms. I think this one happened with the Mannings, particularly Eli Manning not wanting to get traded to or drafted by a super trash team. So his dad basically forced them to go to the Giants. And then it also happened with Andrew Luck, where he was getting beat up and he was supposed to be this longtime franchise quarterback. And he was like, nah, we got money. I went to Stanford. My dad is a millionaire and doing this and that. And he could just walk away. But everybody else.
They let him
keep his money. Hell yeah, because they also weren't going to be able to
contract. I was blown away. Like, how the fuck?
Yeah, he didn't keep all of it. He didn't get the whole thing wasn't guaranteed, but he did get a lot of money because for a long time he was on the roster and just not playing. But that's neither here nor there. He had the opportunity to get out of it versus basically a lot of black players. The ways that your average and below average black person can get ahead in America is entertainment and sports, both being entertainment. Entertainment really is the way.
Being highly subjective. And
highly subjective as well.
Right?
Yes, if you don't have the right people, which is also what happened with the whole basketball situation and the NCAA getting investigated by the feds and all the black dudes who worked for the institutions that were like giving money to kids so that they would sign with Adidas and Nike and shit. All the black dudes went to prison. They got locked up. All the white people, the CEOs, the people handing them the money to hand out to the bagmen, they're just fine. They're still doing what they do. I think maybe the Adidas CEO got in trouble, but like they had to make an example of somebody.
They took away.
But like Phil Knight's still out here.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, why they took his Heisman for it? Like,
yes.
Like he's still a Heisman Trophy winner. Like, why?
Yeah, he still had to do all the things to beat out
trophy,
everybody else. That's some bullshit.
Right?
They took Reggie Bush and they took fucking Ricky Williams for smoking weed on some dumb shit.
Absurd. I mean, I don't know, man. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's just a system of exploitation at a certain level. And then why would you be surprised? Like you said, all this trauma, people who had no other way out, they were living on their last line, right? They're doing all this crazy shit in the street. What else do you think they're going to do when they get there, right? You give them money and power and opportunity. They're going to be like, bro, I know this system very well, and I'm about to be the kingpin of the shit I was doing before. Why the fuck would I not do that? And I'm rapping, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and thinking, I have the power because I'm the voice on the mic, when in reality, it's a nigga like Suge Knight that's holding you over a balcony. I don't know if y'all know that story, but he definitely held, I think, Vanilla Ice over a balcony and made him sign some particular deal. It was in the Straight Outta Compton movie, actually. For like a moment.
That deal can't hold up because it's under coercion.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you, but also,
I guess
that's what happened. Yeah, it took a long time. Yeah,
everybody gonna testify against that dude.
All right, man. We should go ahead and wrap up the Chronicles. I'm done with the Chronicles, man. I'm tired of this shit.
Sounds good.
But one last comment before we wrap up: the Browns organization is the worst organization in sports history. We don't the whole Deshaun Watson thing. Whatever. We don't have to debate that right now.
Yeah, I'm confused about that. But yeah, I mean, overall,
why would you sign someone so compromised to
That's a weird move.
Like, this dude is about to not play for 1 year, the most expensive contract in NFL history, fully guaranteed, and you have your team and your organization and your fan base in a ton of shit, and you fucking discarded Baker Mayfield. And look, he's not a great quarterback, but he's okay. He's an okay quarterback. Yeah. It's just like, and the thing is that I had always thought the Browns were completely and utterly trash. But I was like, okay, they got Baker. They went to the playoffs. They beat, I think, the Steelers in the playoffs. Okay, Baker had a down year. Like, y'all were getting ready. Y'all got Njoku. Y'all got Myles Garrett. Y'all got fucking Amari Cooper. Like, y'all got a squad. And you got a Stefanski who won Coach of the Year. I think the year that they beat the Steelers in the playoffs. It's like you guys had the shit, and then now you imploded the entire organization for Deshaun fucking Watson. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Deshaun Watson totally wasn't even that great. I mean, like, I swear, I just didn't understand. I mean, like, look, Deshaun Watson wasn't bad. He was probably top 20 quarterback. Okay.
Top 20, bro. People were saying he was top 5.
Bro, I don't know, but I don't know.
Bro, Herschel knows.
Right,
Herschel
exactly,
knows.
Right? I mean, people
were saying that, but he was never top 5, bro. He was top 10 for sure.
Bro, people thought he was a showstopper. Seriously.
I don't even know.
Why you think he got the contract?
I just remember his last few seasons.
The contract is probably the dumbest thing about it, though. Of like, bruh, how did you give this man who was still in legal jeopardy? Essentially, you didn't know what was going to happen.
I mean,
how'd
he's
you give
a
him the
top 20
guaranteed money?
quarterback, man.
What was that? What was that decision? but also they're in win now mode. They think they can, make everything go away with winning. And they think he's going to play. They think he's probably going to get 6 games, which again, like we were talking about
but
earlier.
They think they're going to win?
I mean, the NFL is not capable of, what was the word you used before? Like dealing out punishment or like just assessing this situation and dealing with this situation, right? So they are going to either give him too little or too much. And either way, it's going to get, like, if it's too much, it's going to get appealed by the Players Association, and then he'll still play or get paid. Like, it's a stupid catch-22, and the Browns should have just, like, stayed the fuck away from this nuclear bomb. But it's wild because the Falcons were almost in it. The Falcons, I think it was the Saints.
Yeah.
And the Browns were, like, the 3 main teams. And
I mean, but see, that's the thing.
Not us. But
that's the thing. The Falcons, they've had their ups and downs, and I think the Falcons overall is a good organization, but they didn't offer him that contract. You see, that's the difference.
Yeah,
like the Browns really like stuck their whole ass out.
It was probably the guaranteed money that made him make that decision. To be honest, like, all right, I signed, and now give me the money. I mean, I agree.
But I just don't understand how they rated him so high that they would give him this guaranteed
money. I'm telling you, people thought he was like a top 5 quarterback. People think that he was like literally locked down. Like
they must
listen
be
to all the
confusing him with the dude from Baltimore. Like they're like, oh, they're 2 black skinny dudes. They run around. They can throw the ball. Like
who? Lamar?
I think
Lamar Jackson.
That's tough. I'm not sure who I think I like Deshaun Watson as a quarterback better, as a passer better. But Lamar Jackson is like an athlete that can.
What have you done for me recently?
That's
real.
It's the playoffs
because Houston has been trash.
Houston has been trash.
No, he took them to the playoffs. He was about to beat the the Chiefs until Mahomes decided to just go Super Saiyan. They were up like 24-0 in that game. And they had been perennial play. Bruh, the Chiefs that year when they won the Super Bowl were down multiple times in playoff games, and they came back both times.
I remember against the
Texans, they were way up in like the first quarter, 24. Bruh, I remember it vividly because Patrick Mahomes was on my fantasy team and won me the championship that year. So y'all know what the fuck time it is. But Deshaun Watson, I think, was pretty good. But anyway, to digress, like we were just comparing quarterbacks or whatever. Man. I think that probably playoff quarterback Deshaun Watson is a little better than Lamar, and that's where the money goes. I'm just trying to rationalize.
I just don't know.
Something.
I can't. I won't put money on that. I wouldn't put money on that.
They put $200 million on it. Guaranteed.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm blown away. I can't understand it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But like I said, I think it's just the Browns really are incompetent as an organization.
I guess they're just really desperate, man. They just really.
Run it back with Baker. Run it back with Baker. Baker was interested. And look, I'm not trying to cape for Baker. I'm not trying to be here and be some kind of Baker stan, but he's not like trash. And he's a good old American,
Midwest looking boy, right?
Like he's not going to get caught up in, he's married. Like he's not going to get caught up in no fucking bullshit, And so it's just like, he's going to be available, but whatever, man. I find it to be so crazy. And now the shit's going to, honestly, here's a hot take. This is like very, very like flaming hot. So I don't know if I really agree with it, but I don't think he's ever going to suit it for the Browns. Straight up.
Really? So he's going to collect money for free? I mean, come on, man.
Great deal. Great deal by him.
Something could happen. I mean, there's so many.
Agent, incredible agent.
I know, right? His agent pulling 20 mil, bro.
Yeah, 20 mil for nothing. Yeah, sleeps like a baby.
But everyone is saying he's going to get suspended a year. So we'll see. We'll see how shit goes.
Probably.
Because
no fucking way they give him a year.
Absolutely.
No way.
I think it's honestly, I'm thinking that
Roger Goodell is in front of Congress right now, today, talking about bullshit that is going to have no effect. They're not going to do shit. They might give him 6 games. But they didn't like it. They did that for antics. This is off the field, different shit.
Yeah, but this dude is
they didn't like Antonio Brown. I agree with you. I agree. I'm just telling you what they're going to do.
Contact with his genitals and whatnot.
They gave They gave fewer games to people who were literally assaulting women. How can they possibly give him a whole season?
I don't know, man.
They gave.
I think they're going to give him a season.
Kareem Hunt like 4 games. They gave Ray Rice like 6 games.
I mean, Ray Rice never played again, though.
I know. Yeah, they cut
Yeah, but
that dude.
I
They cut
mean,
his ass so fast.
that's because of the video. There ain't no video of Lamar. I mean, of Deshaun.
Well,
Watson
see,
cheating
this is
on
what
that
I'm
lady.
saying. This is we have okay. Let's say he gets suspended a year. You say it's not gonna happen. I think it will. You have a year, first of all, to deal with 4 civil cases. Secondly, this woman Ashley Solis, she was the first one to file a lawsuit. She was the first one to come out because at first they were all hidden. They were all Jane Does. And then she was the first one to actually, they had a press conference. She is still she didn't settle. He settled for 20 cases. I think this Ashley Solis woman is like on a mission. And when shit really comes out and the civil case is actually litigated, shit might look really bad for Deshaun Watson. And you have a whole year of him not playing. So, you know, him actually suiting up, I will believe it when I see it. Just like Ben Simmons, I'll believe it when I see it.
Oh my God! Did we ever talk about?
Hey
this
man, they're gonna
before?
do him like Kobe, and if he gets a ring, everybody will forget
Ben
about
Simmons is never getting a ring.
because everybody forgot about that white girl with Kobe, but also that white girl had different circumstances, so very different.
Yeah, they did forget about her. But yo, Ben Simmons ain't playing basketball ever again, bruh.
Bro, he's so trash.
I mean, I think he's
Mentally
still
trash, bro.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's the yips, but I think it's like probably the worst version we've ever seen of the yips. To the point, I mean, apparently he had back surgery, you know, but we'll see. Like, look, I will believe it when I fucking see it, you know.
I mean, no, I think it's just like he's not motivated. He doesn't want to play. I mean, look at Klay Thompson, bro. His whole both his legs is just like shattered like twigs, and he came back, man.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And he won a championship.
right? Like, I mean, you know, he wasn't never the most athletic dude, but the dude, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just like, it seems like how old is he? 19, 20, 21?
Simmons?
Ben Simmons is,
He's like
21,
25.
you know, he's young.
Is he?
He's like low 20s,
Yeah, he is
right?
young. He's
low
25.
20s. Okay, 25. Okay, never mind. So I mean, he still hasn't even reached his prime yet. Like, his body still heals very well.
Oh, sure, I guess. Yeah, his aging prime, I guess, but
Yeah, like
his
his basketball
prime,
his
he's
basketball
beyond it.
prime, it's like 28. You know, 28
Yeah,
to
30, 31, 32.
Right? Like,
I mean, KD's
that's what
with 32 or something like that.
Exactly, right? Like, he hasn't even reached that yet. His body, I mean, his healing prime is right now. So I just find it hard to believe that he's got something physically wrong with him. I think it's in his head. I think it's really about his head, his motivation to train. He doesn't really care about basketball as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Hey, man, he be hitting up all the Instagram models, though. At least that's
good
what.
for him. Look, as he should. As he should, right?
No, he shouldn't. He should go play basketball. Fuck them damn stupid ass Instagram models, bro. They're gonna bankrupt him.
I mean,
it looks like it's just one now. It looks like he's engaged to
Oh,
one.
really? Oh,
Yes,
good for him.
just as soon as January. So
All right, that's what's up, man.
we'll see.
Maybe maybe he wants to take care of that situation. All right, well, whatever, man. Hopefully, I mean, we'll see this season. I mean, look, he had a whole year. He's got the off season. He got to see where everybody's gonna land, and he can make a decision whether or not he's gonna actually compete.
Bruh, see, the thing is that now he has to deal with the fact that he's not going to shoot the ball, and people are going to talk about this for the rest of his career.
He can learn how to shoot the ball, though.
No, he can't. No, he can't. No, he can't. It's the yips. Look, it's a psychological issue. Look, and I'm not trying to I'm not trying to diagnose him from afar, but it's purely a psychological issue. Like, bruh, look, if I was on an NBA floor, I'm going to shoot the ball. I don't give a fuck how trash I am. If I'm playing NBA basketball, I'm going to shoot the ball. Like, this dude is an actual NBA player, and he's 6'10", and he actually could probably shoot a little bit, but he still doesn't shoot the ball.
He was shooting before he actually hit. He could actually hit shots. I mean, it wasn't like he was shooting 70% from the field, but I mean, the dude can shoot shots. He can get close to the rim. He can dunk and all that. He wasn't even really doing nothing last time he was playing.
Yeah, he just doesn't. Yeah.
He doesn't do anything. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
I am happy to see, and I'm sure you're happy to see the Nets implode with KD and whatnot. So salute to that. Kyrie gets on my nerves, but that's about it.
Well, anything else, fellas?
I actually like Kyrie, even though he's kind of dumb. I think basketball.
He's
a great player.
He's a showstopper, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty much the extent of it. Once you leave the basketball court, it's just,
man, these NBA players today, man, they're so
weird as fuck.
I think that
Young people these days, that's what it is. That's
I mean, KD's so
podcast.
weird. I mean, Kyrie's weird. Like, there's
Kids
just a
these
lot
days,
of weird
man,
basketball
weirdos.
players, bro. Like, why can't everybody be like Ja Morant?
Man, they didn't get a chance to socialize because they were always playing that damn basketball, always doing AAU and going to tournaments and shit.
Ja Morant look like
Niggas
a cool
have a
dude,
full-time
man.
job in high school now. They don't get a chance.
I think these
actually
niggas.
be
What I
young
want to
people.
say, I think these niggas is just hella conceited, man. Between social media and the stupid amount of money that they get paid, you know, I think they just really think they can do whatever the fuck they want, and for the most part, they can. But you know, I think at some point, at least with things like with playing games, like honestly, Kyrie not showing up, bruh, they need to start finding them like $250,000. Seriously. If you don't want them to, if you want them to stop doing that shit, these little 10K, 15K,
Yeah, bro,
you know,
they piss that money, right? Like, that's nothing to them.
that's what I'm saying. You got to start finding them actual real money, full game
Yeah,
checks if you need
you're
to.
right. But the Players Association ain't gonna let that happen, man. You know that.
Yeah,
right?
nah.
They're gonna fight to the death behind that. I mean, that's their bread and butter.
I mean, I suppose that they should, but at the end of the day, the NBA is still an
It's
organization.
true, though.
Like,
I mean, I was watching. I'm not even sure which of these news commentary, sports commentary. I think it was Stephen A. Smith was talking about how the league is going to come down, like the NBA is going to come down on all these players soon because of, they don't show up to games. They're always injured. They don't want to play half, 90%. They all got to be at 100%. And, they're cheating the fans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, it's like owners and, the front office, the NBA is getting tired of it because they're losing money behind this, right? It's like it's affecting their margins. It's affecting their ability to pull fans, et cetera. So
Yeah.
we'll see
Yeah.
if it actually happens, man. If they put some penalties behind all this stuff.
yeah. Yeah, man, we'll see, I mean, I think there's another side of this too, which we'll talk about this later, another podcast, but I also think that like a society, we have over glorified celebrities and sports athletes, and they are paid as much as they are because they create the business for these organizations. But like we talked about this a long time ago on the podcast when the Falcons lost, like that shit hurts. But at the same time, it's like these are regular people. These niggas that slide into Instagram DMs just like everybody else. They're regular ass dudes. But we, not me, fuck them. But society treats them like gods, just like Fauci the god. Nobody know Fauci, but we treated him like a god for a good couple of years. Treat KD like a god. They're regular people. And at the end and when you start treating people like gods, man, they start acting like it.
Yeah.
Talk about they back hurting shit.
Agreed.
Don't want to play no
Get
basketball.
hella conceited, narcissistic,
Yep.
all the Greek gods, and the Christian god too. But that's about it.
With that, gotta wrap it up.
We go ahead and wrap it up then. Hashtag RTPTH. Real talk beyond the headlines.
All right.
Peace. Peace.